Chapter 4505. Brat, you'll suffer endless pain for these 49 days. Then you'll die. I'll let you know that Yu Hua divine sect is not to be trifled with. Heavenly demon Yu Hua kept the 9 nether gourd in his storage ring and sneered. He laughed coldly. However, when he remembered that Ling Xiao was still wearing the divine phoenix battle armor, his heart ached. Heavenly demon Yu Hua, listen up. I don't need 49 days. I'll be out soon. I'll kill all these bastards from Yu Hua divine sect. Especially you and Yu Hua Tianrui. Both of you must die. Ling Xiao's voice came from the 9 nether gourd. Heavenly demon, Yu Hua frowned. To be honest, he had a very uneasy feeling. That was why he wanted to kill Ling Xiao immediately. However, he couldn't do it. At the thought of this, he felt that his second brother was extremely stupid. He actually let someone take away the divine phoenix armor. He was extremely depressed. Go ahead and try to talk your way out. Heavenly demon, Yu Hua, blocked the sound. He couldn't be bothered to listen to Ling Xiao's nonsense. However, he didn't know that he had fallen into Ling Xiao's trap by doing so. Ling Xiao hoped that he would be able to block out the sound so that he could do what he wanted to do. Inside the 9 nether gourd, even the celestial demon black tortoise body couldn't resist the crazy 9 nether water. However, Ling Xiao was wearing the divine phoenix armor now, so there was no need to worry for the time being. However, upon closer inspection, one could see that the divine phoenix armor was being corroded by the 9 nether water. The 9 nether water seemed to have a life of its own. It was like a vicious giant snake that wanted to swallow Ling Xiao whole. No wonder heavenly demon Yu Hua said that it would take 49 days to refine me. This divine phoenix battle armor can probably last for 49 days. Ling Xiao muttered to himself. Then he didn't care anymore. With the protection of the divine phoenix armor, he sat cross-legged in the 9 nether water. Master, do you have any ideas? Cold Plum asked. Don't worry. I've already thought of a way to get out. How can mere 9 nether water kill me? It doesn't matter even if I don't have the divine phoenix armor. Ling Xiao smiled. He already had a crazy idea in his mind. However, he was still considering the feasibility. All right, if Master needs it, you must ask. No matter what, I will help. Don't underestimate this Kai Dai Saintess. Cold Plum said, I know. Ling Xiao smiled and suddenly removed the divine phoenix battle armor. At that moment, the 9 underworld's water was extremely excited as it frantically pounced towards Ling Xiao's body. Ling Xiao smiled coldly. Canopy Beast Soul Transformation. The Canopy Beast was a beast god martial spirit that controlled the water element. It had 2 special skills, the Water Giant and the Yellow Spring River. It was only because its power was not as strong as before that Ling Xiao had not used it recently. To him, this was an opportunity. The 9 underworld's water was similar to the Yellow Spring's water, except that it was more corrosive. But no matter how strong he was, how could he be stronger than Haishin? The 12 beast gods were the supreme deities of the Black Tortoise continent, although they were not worth mentioning in front of the deities of the Immortal Court continent. But in the Black Tortoise continent, they were the most terrifying existences. Moreover, Ling Xiao had the all-encompassing Sky Tyrant martial spirit. The pitch-black universe opened up behind him. The endless 9 underworld's water seemed to have encountered something terrifying and wanted to escape in panic. However, the power of the universe was extremely terrifying. Baby, don't run. Since you are here, don't leave. Absorb. The Sky Tyrant martial spirit formed a super terrifying black hole and sucked the 9 underworld's water in. This scene caused Lung Mei to be dumbstruck. She knew that her master's martial spirit was extremely terrifying, but she did not expect it to be so powerful. How is Master? Dong Huang Yu slowly woke up and immediately thought of her master. Don't worry, he is fine. Cold Plum was very relieved. Ling Xiao could even control the 9 underworld's water, How could he be killed by the 9 underworlds gourd? The 9 underworlds water was completely absorbed by the Sky Tyrant martial spirit. Then it was slowly released to help Ling Xiao temper his physical body and the Sky Tyrant martial spirit. Other people had to endure a torturous process to cultivate. Ling Xiao found that absorbing the energy was simply enjoyable. It was as if he was soaking in a hot spring. He watched the energy in his cultivation increase continuously. He watched his physical body strengthen continuously. He watched the Sky Tyrant martial spirit strengthen continuously. After a full 3 hours, Ling Xiao's cultivation finally broke through again and reached the mid-stage of the extreme core realm. The black tortoise physique also broke through and reached the peak of the 10th Order Emperor realm. The peak of the 10th Order Emperor realm was only 1 step away from the Saint realm. The strength of his physical body was comparable to an Emperor weapon with 1 dragon mark. Although it was not comparable to the divine phoenix armor, the strength of his physical body was already this strong. If others knew about it, they would be scared to death. The Sky Tyrant martial spirit mutated and evolved into the 9 underworld Sky Tyrant martial spirit. The power of the 2 special skills increased at the same time. The water giant directly transformed into a 9 underworlds monster. The yellow spring water evolved into the 9 underworlds yellow spring water. However, there was still a lot of 9 underworlds water left, and it was all stored in the Mountain River world. In the Mountain River world, a 9 underworlds yellow spring river was formed. In the future, his physical body could continue to be tempered by the river water. Most importantly, after being tempered by the 9 underworlds water, the giant Devil King had evolved into a 9 underworlds giant Devil King. His strength had reached the 2nd level of the divine physique realm. This was Ling Xiao's biggest trump card. As for the 9 underworlds gourd, it was now a useless item. Ling Xiao didn't need to use the 9 underworlds gourd to attack with the 9 underworlds water. However, because Ling Xiao hadn't reached the divine physique realm, the 9 underworlds water's attack wasn't that strong. Even so, it was still as strong as a divine core warrior using an emperor weapon with 4 dragon marks. Master, why do I feel like you've become much stronger? Cold Plum asked. That's right. This heavenly devil Yuhua has suffered a double loss. I should be the one thanking him for giving me such a great gift. Ling Xiao said with a smile, This is great. Master, you're really unfathomable. You can even subdue a treasure like the 9 underworlds gourd. Dong Huangyu's eyes were filled with admiration. That's nothing. Ling Xiao replied with a smile. In fact, he had to thank the Sky Tyrant martial soul and Tian Pengbi's soul. If either of them were missing, he wouldn't have been able to do this. Previously, when Heavenly Devil Yuhua had subdued him with the 9 underworlds gourd, he wanted to use the giant Devil King to escape. But luckily, he was brave enough to give it a try. If not, he wouldn't have been able to achieve this. Master, how are we going to get out of here? The 9 underworlds gourd is in Heavenly Devil Yuhua's possession. If we forcefully break out of the gourd, we might alert him. Cold Plum said, Alert him? Then let's kill him. Ling Xiao sneered. Kill him. Cold Plum was dumbfounded. Heavenly Devil Yuhua was a 9th level shattered core realm warrior. Even without the 9 underworlds gourd, Ling Xiao was no match for him. There was no need to mention Dong Huangyu. She did have the strength, but it seemed like Ling Xiao didn't want to borrow her strength. Cold Plum, don't worry. Just be a good girl and watch. When has Master ever disappointed you? Ling Xiao replied with a smile. Chapter 4506. Cold Plum opened her mouth, but in the end, she did not say anything. Thinking about it carefully, Ling Xiao had never disappointed her. Void, shattering finger. Without the 9 underworld water, the 9 underworld gourd was just an ordinary gourd. In addition, the internal formation had been broken by Ling Xiao. With a tap of the void shattering finger, the 9 underworld gourd shattered. If heavenly demon Yuhua did not block the sound, he would definitely be able to hear it. Unfortunately, that idiot did not want to hear Ling Zhao's nagging and directly blocked the sound in the storage ring. Therefore, he did not even know that the 9 underworld gourd had shattered. At this moment, heavenly demon Yuhua was cultivating in his room. Although there were people outside the door, heavenly demon Yuhua was a proud person. When he was cultivating, he would never allow others to disturb him. However, he probably did not expect that his most powerful emperor weapon would eventually become something that would cost him his life. Things in this world were really unpredictable. Wow! As expected of the godson of Yuhua divine sect. I'm rich this time. Coming out of the 9 underworld gourd, Ling Xiao glanced at heavenly demon Yuhua's storage ring. Good heavens, he actually had a total of 20 top-grade spirit stones. 1 supreme-grade spirit stone was equivalent to 10 million high-grade spirit stones. 20 yuan. That's 200 million yuan. Spirit stones were definitely what martial artists needed the most. Whether it was cultivation, refining pills, or buying things, they were all needed. Ling Zhao's blood-colored thunder god still needed spirit stones to store energy, other than the 20 supreme-grade spirit stones. There was also a map in this guy's storage ring. Upon closer inspection, it was actually a map of the ruins of heaven. On this map, all the places that Yuhua divine sect had been to were marked. The treasures and traps inside were very eye-catching. Ling Xiao only took a casual glance, and there was actually the remnant soul of the 9 underworld Yellow Springs Golden Crow. This was what Xiao Jin needed the most. Ling Xiao did not look at the other medicinal herbs carefully. He stuffed them all into his Dongsheng emperor ring. Then, Ling Xiao began to crack the formation of the storage ring. Although Yuhua Tianrui's storage ring was not bad, it was not as good as the Dongxing emperor ring. Therefore, it was very easy to crack it. Heavenly demon Yuhua, who was in the midst of cultivation, sensed a peculiar aura. He turned his head to look. He noticed that a figure had suddenly jumped out of his storage ring. This shock was no small matter. Yuhua, heavenly demon's heart nearly stopped beating from fright. "It's you." You didn't expect this, did you?" "Godson, I said that I would definitely kill you, and I won't go back on my words." Ling Xiao sneered. "You?" Yuhua, heavenly demon, sneered disdainfully. "Although I don't know how you escaped from the 9 nether gourd. I'm sure you'll be able to escape from it. But if you want to kill me with your strength, you're dreaming." Before he could finish his sentence, a terrifying giant demon appeared behind Ling Xiao. His body emitted the aura of the 9 underworlds. Divine body realm. Yuhua, a heavenly demon, suddenly realized that he was in a very dangerous situation. He turned around and tried to escape. However, how could the 9 underworld's great devil king, who was at the 2nd level of the divine body realm, let him escape? With a light grab, the heavenly demon Yuhua was held in his hand. "Don't kill me. I can give you everything you want." Yuhua, heavenly demon, was also afraid of death. He never dreamed that he would be in such a situation where he actually had to beg Ling Xiao for mercy. "All right, then give me your life. Kill him." Ling Xiao sneered. In order to prevent any accidents from happening, he ordered the 9 nether giant demon king to take action. Poor Yuhua, heavenly demon, was also considered a formidable person. He actually died in Ling Xiao's hands without knowing anything. What a pity. After killing Yuhua, heavenly demon, Ling Xiao put away the 9 nether giant demon king. Master, that was. The 9 nether giant demon king at the 2nd level of the divine body realm, my puppet. Ling Xiao gave a simple explanation, then transformed. He transformed into the appearance of Yuhua, heavenly demon. He walked out of the room. "Godson." The guard outside the door bowed and said. Ling Xiao didn't say anything and walked straight to Yuhua Tianrui's residence. There were 3 people he wanted to kill today. Yuhua, heavenly demon, Wu Tianshou, and Yuhua Tianrui. Yuhua, heavenly demon, had already been killed. Wu Tianshou was his next target. Only by transforming into Yuhua, heavenly demon's appearance, would it be easier to kill him. Master, why don't we just burn down this Yuhua divine sect? We'll let everyone know the consequences of offending us. Dong Huang, you suggested. That's a good idea, but not now. Wait until I kill Yuhua Tianrui and Wu Tianshou. Ling Xiao didn't want to alert the enemy for the time being. After completing his goal, he would raise this damn Yuhua divine sect to the ground. Soon, Ling Xiao arrived at Yuhua Tianrui's residence. He had been here before, so it was naturally very easy for him to find it. With Yuhua heavenly demon's identity as a cover, no one dared to stop him. Just like that, his journey was unimpeded. In Yuhua Tianrui's palace, this lunatic was venting his anger. He was venting with the poor dancer. Damn Ling Xiao! Damn cold plum bitch! I'll beat you to death! The whip landed on the dancer's body. Although those dancers were also martial artists, they were too weak. After a few lashes, they died. F***CK. You're venting your anger on your own people after being bullied outside. What a beast! Ling Xiao looked down on this kind of person the most. They were simply shameless to the extreme. In the palace, Yuhua Tianrui's bodyguards were watching the show from the side. Some even clapped and cheered. Eldest young master, you don't have to be so angry. That Ling Xiao was taken in by my godson with the 9 nether gourd. It's impossible for him to be alive. Your grudge can be considered as avenged. Wu Tianshou drank a little wine at the side and smiled faintly. Not enough. Not enough. Far from enough. Yuhua Tianrui said crazily, I want to investigate Ling Xiao's background and kill all of his relatives. Only then can I dispel the hatred in my heart. He made me lose all my face, so I'll make him suffer so much that he'll wish he was dead. Master, Lun Yu noticed that Ling Xiao's body was trembling and couldn't help but call out. Don't worry. Ling Xiao revealed a sinister smile. He wants to kill my family? Kill my family? I'm afraid he won't be able to live. Ling Xiao said coldly. He walked towards the main hall. Look at how useless you are. That woman is venting her anger. He was currently acting as heavenly demon Yuhua, so he naturally spoke arrogantly. Why aren't you guys scramming? He looked at the dancers. The dancers felt as if they had been pardoned. They fled in a panic and left Yuhua's sect. They were originally dancers outside, and Yuhua Tianrui wanted them to pass the time. Killing was killing. Yuhua Tianrui didn't care. Big brother, godson. Seeing heavenly demon Yuhua, everyone hurriedly knelt down to greet him. Ling Xiao sneered and looked at Wu Tianshou. Come here, I have a mission for you. Wu Tianshou didn't think too much about it. How could he have thought that heavenly demon Yuhua was already dead? He probably wouldn't have thought that the person standing in front of him was Ling Xiao. He hurriedly went over and knelt in front of heavenly demon Yuhua, saying excitedly, Godson has something to instruct. Come closer. Ling Xiao waved his hand as if there was a secret mission. Chapter 4507. Qi. The East Victory, heavenly sword, pierced through Wu Tianshou's dantian. Wu Tianshou's eyes were filled with shock and confusion. Ling Xiao returned to his original appearance with a smile. Among these people, Wu Tianshou was the most troublesome, which was why he had to use the appearance of heavenly demon Yuhua to set him up. Then he would sneak attack and kill him. The moment Ling Xiao revealed his true appearance, Wu Tianshou's eyes were filled with intense unwillingness and shock. Why is it you? With a sorrowful question, he fell to the ground and died in front of Ling Xiao. However, Ling Xiao did not plan to let him go just like that. He grabbed Wu Tianshou's neck with one hand and forcefully sucked Wu Tianshou's true essence into his body. The true essence of a powerhouse at the first level of the divine body realm was really powerful. Although it could not allow him to break through instantly, it was enough for him to squander for a while as potential. Ling Xiao, how could it be you? Where's my big brother? Yu Hua Tianrui was terrified to the extreme. The person who he thought was definitely dead suddenly appeared here, and he appeared in the appearance of heavenly demon Yu Hua. Oh, your great godson, he's already dead. Ling Xiao revealed a bright smile. Yu Hua Tianrui was stunned at that moment. Ling Xiao seized the opportunity and suddenly made a move, directly strangling Yu Hua Tianrui's neck. By the time the bodyguards reacted, it was already too late. You're lying. My big brother can't be dead. Although Yu Hua Tianrui's neck was choked, he still spoke, even though he hated his big brother. However, there was no doubt that his big brother was an invincible existence in his heart. Whether he's dead or not, you'll know when you go to the underworld. What a pitiful guy. Why did you have to provoke me? I've already warned you. Ling Xiao sighed. He exerted force, and Yu Hua Tianrui's neck was broken. His true essence was also sucked dry by Ling Xiao. His inner core dried up and he died. At the moment of his death, Yu Hua Tianrui still could not believe that everything that happened was real. His big brother was dead. Now he was going to die too. It felt like a dream. Yu Hua divine religion had stood tall in the chaotic jade sand ocean for so many years, but such a thing had never happened before. Never. Cold Plum and Dong Huang, you looked at the dead Yu Hua Tianrui. He could not help but sigh. Heavenly demon Yu Hua and Yu Hua Tianrui were notorious for being domineering in the chaotic desert. One was valiant and the other was a spoiled brat, relying on the backing of Yu Hua divine cult. The two of them had committed many atrocities. However, who could do anything to them? Even divine physique echelon experts wouldn't dare to touch them because of Yu Hua divine sect. Yet today they were actually finished off by an extreme realm of alchemy martial artist. It had to be said that this was really a bit of a weirdo. It's your turn now. Ling Xiao looked at the bodyguards around him coldly. These people were helping the tyrant, and none of them were innocent. At the same time, two figures silently entered Yu Hua, heavenly demon's residence. The guards at the door didn't even notice. When the two of them entered the room, their faces suddenly changed, because they saw a badly mutilated corpse on the ground. It's heavenly demon Yu Hua. Jianhu checked and said to Xiao Jin, someone actually killed heavenly demon Yu Hua? And from the looks of it, the people from Yu Hua divine cult don't know? Xiao Jin frowned. Search and see what's in the storage ring. Jianhu and Xiao Jin started searching the room. One of them checked the storage ring while the other checked the things in the room. A few minutes later, the two of them looked at each other. Nothing. It was probably taken away by someone else. Who is it that made a move before us? Xiao Jin looked at the corpse on the ground and couldn't help but sigh. Yu Hua divine cult can be considered the third most powerful force in the chaotic desert. Now that heavenly demon Yu Hua has been killed, I'm afraid the chaotic desert will start a bloody storm. It's just that I really want to meet the person who killed heavenly demon Yu Hua. Young master, it seems a bit chaotic outside. Let's leave quickly. Jianhu reminded, there are still some old fellows in Yu Hua divine cult who are in seclusion. If they find out, it'll be troublesome. Let's go. Xiao Jin nodded and left heavenly demon Yu Hua's residence. Just like how they came, they disappeared without a trace. It was as if the guard didn't see them at all, except for heavenly demon Yu Hua's room. Xiao Jin suddenly stopped in his tracks. In the distance, a terrifying aura was released. Then, the Black Nine underworld's water flooded many of Yu Hua divine cult's buildings like a flood. Who is it that gave me such a terrifying feeling? Even I'm trembling. Xiao Jin's expression was a bit ugly. Yes, young master, with such a terrifying pressure. It must be a divine physique echelon expert. Jianhu also said in fear. Let's go. Don't get involved in this. Xiao Jin reminded and immediately flew out of Yu Hua divine cult. The Nine Underworld's water was extremely terrifying. In an instant, it engulfed many of Yu Hua divine cult's buildings. Any building that was touched by it would instantly rot and collapse. Many Yu Hua divine cult's martial artists couldn't escape in time and were buried in the terrifying 9 underworld's water. Help! Someone killed the eldest young master. Terrified voices resounded in the sky. Oh no, my godson is also dead. Probably because they heard the shouts outside. Someone wanted to report to Heavenly Demon Yu Hua. In the end, they found out that his godson was also dead. This time it was really chaotic. The entire Yu Hua divine cult had never encountered such a thing. Godson was killed. First young master was killed. This was simply a nightmare. Ling Xiao walked out of Yu Hua Tianrui's palace. In the palace, all the bodyguards were killed. Today he wasn't here to fight, he was here purely to kill. Therefore, he borrowed the power of the 9 underworld's great demon king. The power that Xiao Jin felt was precisely this. Ling Xiao openly controlled the 9 underworld's water. If God blocked him, he would kill God. If Buddha blocked him, he would kill Buddha. Master, it's time to go. With such a big commotion, those old things of Yu Hua divine cult should come out. Cold Plum reminded, yes, it's time to go. After killing Yu Hua heavenly demon, Yu Hua Tianrui and Wu Tianshou, Ling Xiao had vented enough. As for those underlings, he wasn't interested. In an instant, he withdrew all the 9 underworld's water. Ling Xiao entered the shadow warrior form and fled out of Yu Hua divine cult. He also felt that a powerful aura was recovering. After all, Yu Hua divine cult was the 3rd force in the chaotic desert sea. It was impossible for them not to have any experts. Ling Xiao didn't want to fight with them for the time being. It just so happened that those who knew him and saw him were already dead. Moreover, he was a martial artist at the middle stage of the extreme core realm. Probably no one would believe that he killed those 2. A large area of Yu Hua divine cult's buildings collapsed. Screams were heard. The Black 9 underworld's water raged wildly. It was impossible for others not to know about this commotion. The martial artists who lived nearby all rushed over, but for the time being they only dared to watch from afar, wanting to know what happened. At this moment, no one thought that this terrifying commotion was caused by the person who was taken away by Yu Hua, heavenly demon with the 9 underworld's gourd. No matter how good one's imagination was, they couldn't imagine it. Everyone read. Chapter 4508. Ling Xiao had yet to leave Yu Hua divine sect. Suddenly, he sensed an extremely familiar aura. That feeling was so familiar. He missed it so much, just like when he first met Cold Plum, Xiao Jin. Ling Xiao revealed a look of ecstasy. It couldn't be wrong, it must be Xiao Jin. Although his aura had become stronger, his essence had not changed. Ling Xiao believed that he could not be wrong. What's wrong, master? Cold Plum was unable to circulate her vital essence at this moment, so her perception of her surroundings was naturally reduced. Did Xiao Jin also come to the chaotic sand sea? Ling Xiao asked. I really don't know. Although we're both in the savage beast region, we're not in the same place. When I came to the chaotic sand sea this time, I didn't see him either. Cold Plum shook her head and said, but I heard that Xiao Jin wants to go to the chaotic sand sea to look for the remnant soul of the 9 nether yellow springs golden crow. Then it can't be wrong. Ling Xiao touched his Dong Sheng emperor ring. He instantly understood. Xiao Jin must have appeared here for that map. However, he did not expect him to kill Yu Hua, heavenly demon, and Yu Hua, Tianrui. He probably got nothing. Xiao Jin felt very depressed. He came to Yu Hua divine sect tonight for the map and did not want to kill anyone. Now, he was treated as a ferocious beast for no reason. He was even surrounded. What the hell? Xiao Jin and Jianhu did not want to expose their identities, so they wore masks. They stood back to back and looked coldly at the experts of Yu Hua divine sect who were chasing after them. Did you kill my godson and eldest young master? A voice came from afar. Someone took the blame for me. Ling Xiao frowned. If it was any other time, he would not care. However, this person was very likely to be Xiao Jin. How could he let his good brother take the blame while he escaped? Ling Xiao turned and flew in the direction of the voice. If it was really Xiao Jin, even if he had to expose his greatest reliance tonight, he would still save them. In one's life, there weren't many people who could make friends with their lives. If there was one, he had to guard it well. Moreover, Xiao Jin had saved his life many times. Is it Xiao Jin? He thought to himself as he blended into the crowd and flew over. Cold Plum and Dong Huang, you didn't stop him. Cold Plum knew about the relationship between Ling Xiao and Xiao Jin. This last Dong Huang, you didn't seem to know fear at all. She was simply audacious. The exit of Yu Hua divine sect. He was already surrounded by a group of experts. Fortunately, no divine body realm martial artists had appeared yet. Ling Xiao heaved a sigh of relief. He had the ability to solve such a situation. Although the people in the lead were all 9th level core shattering stage experts, they were still very strong. However, with the existence of the 9 underworld's giant demon king, he had nothing to fear. Ling Xiao stood there and looked at the people who were surrounded. At this moment, there were a lot of people around. There were quite a lot of onlookers. Therefore, he was not afraid of being discovered. Moreover, he had already changed his appearance. Even if others saw him, they wouldn't know it was him. It's really him. Ling Xiao finally saw the people in the encirclement clearly. One was Xiao Jin. The current Xiao Jin was stronger than before. He exuded a cold and terrifying aura. Little guy, you've become more handsome and stronger. I wonder if you'll still call me boss when you see me? Ling Xiao smiled. He was relieved that Xiao Jin was fine. He didn't know the other person. He was a tall and burly beast race martial artist. His strength couldn't be underestimated. He wasn't in a hurry to make a move. Instead, he prepared to observe the situation. If it really didn't work, he would just put the two of them into the Dongsheng Emperor Ring and escape. It wasn't a good thing for Xiao Jin to interfere at this time. This should be his training. These two people are wearing masks. Could they be famous people? Nonsense, if they weren't famous people. How could they have killed Heavenly Demon Yu Hua? These people didn't mention Yu Hua Tianrui at all. It was as if Yu Hua Tianrui was trash, not worth mentioning. That's right, I think so too. Recently, there have been more and more martial artists gathering in the chaotic Sand Sea. It's normal to have such powerhouses. It's just that they're too crazy, right? They even killed Heavenly Demon Yu Hua. Can Yu Hua Divine Sect's lineup stop them? Who knows? Just like who would have expected that Heavenly Demon Yu Hua would be killed tonight? This is simply too shocking. Looking at these two people, they seem very calm. They're probably very strong. Yu Hua Divine Sect isn't to be trifled with either. Among that group of people, there are at least 3 9th-level shattered core realm existences. Everyone discussed as if waiting to watch a show. At this moment, Xiao Jin spoke. Friends of Yu Hua Divine Sect, we didn't kill Heavenly Demon Yu Hua. Although we did enter his room, when we got there, he was already dead. Xiao Jin clearly didn't want to be the scapegoat. He wasn't afraid, but he couldn't take such a huge blame for no reason. That would be too unfair. That's right. It's even more impossible for Yu Hua Tianrui to be killed by us. When we entered Heavenly Demon Yu Hua's room, they already started fighting. Jianhu also said, now that things have come to this, you still want to deny it? How could the people of Yu Hua Divine Sect listen to their explanation? Unless our eyes are scared out of their wits, how could we have seen wrongly? We'll naturally investigate whether you killed him or not. But now, you must follow us back to be interrogated. Everyone, don't go too far. Do you really think we're afraid of you, Hua Divine Sect? We just don't want to be misunderstood. If you want to fight today, we'll accompany you. Xiao Jin's eyes flickered with a terrifying golden light. Jianhu also exuded a violent aura. Facing so many powerhouses of Yu Hua Divine Sect, the two of them were not afraid at all. Yu Hua Divine Sect, You guys are really blind. At this moment, a voice came from the crowd. It was filled with ridicule and coldness. Ling Xiao didn't want Xiao Jin to be the scapegoat. If he was the one who killed him, then he was the one who killed him. How could he let his good friend take the blame? Who dares to be impudent there? Simply boasting shamelessly. Yu Hua Divine Sect was unlucky enough tonight. They definitely wouldn't let any of the suspects go. It was fine if Yu Hua Tianrui was dead, but even Heavenly Demon Yu Hua was dead. This was simply a disaster. If they couldn't find the murderer, they would all be buried with him. Don't you recognize me? Ling Xiao walked out of the crowd. He was arrogant and condescending. Looking at the people of Yu Hua Divine Sect, he revealed his original appearance. It's him. How could it be him? The surrounding crowd was stunned. Ling Xiao's appearance was something they never expected. Shouldn't this person be captured by the Nine Nether Gourd? Why did he appear here? Moreover, his strength seemed to have become stronger. Who is he? There were also people who didn't recognize Ling Xiao. I think his name is Ling Xiao, a martial artist from the Golden Sky region. Someone explained. That's not the point. The point is that this kid was clearly captured by Heavenly Demon Yu Hua before. Do you guys think this guy broke the 9 Nether Gourd and then killed Heavenly Demon Yu Hua? Everyone read. Chapter 4509. No matter what others said, Ling Xiao appeared alive. He stood in the air and looked down at the people of Yu Hua Divine Sect. He said coldly, the people of Yu Hua Divine Sect are not only blind but also idiots. Let me tell you, I killed Yu Hua, Heavenly Demon, and Yu Hua Tianrui. If you want revenge, look for me. Framing an unrelated person is too laughable. What? The moment Ling Xiao said this, the crowd was in an uproar. Previously, everyone was just guessing. They did not expect Ling Xiao to admit it. Boss! At this moment, Xiao Jin, who had been shocked for a long time, finally rushed towards Ling Xiao excitedly. Is it really you, boss? During this period of time, Xiao Jin had been thinking about his boss day and night. He did not have a girlfriend, so naturally he thought about Ling Xiao the most. You still remember me, kid. Ling Xiao was very happy. To be honest, after being separated for a long time, feelings easily faded. Moreover, Xiao Jin went to the savage beast region. It was unknown if he was affected by the savage beast race. Ling Xiao's mind was still filled with wild thoughts. Until he heard Xiao Jin call him boss, he was satisfied. Of course, in this life, I can forget anyone but you, boss. Xiao Jin smiled very happily. On the other side, Jinhu scratched his head. I didn't expect young Master Jin's boss to be so young, but his cultivation doesn't look like much. He's actually at the intermediate stage of the extreme core stage. However, he's quite loyal to actually dare to stand out. Jinhu would not look down on Ling Xiao, but he did not quite believe what Xiao Jin said before. Xiao Jin said that his boss was stronger than him, but now it seemed that was not the case. So they're in cahoots. No matter who they are, they must be killed today. A 9th level shattered core martial artist released a terrifying aura. The other two also attacked at the same time. Within a radius of 1,000 meters, almost everything was enveloped under their terrifying aura. The 3 of you, it's best if you surrender immediately. Otherwise, if we attack, we'll definitely tear you into pieces. One of them roared angrily. His voice was like a thunderclap, causing many people to feel a headache. Cut the crap. If you want to fight, then do it. At most, I'll just kill a few more people from your Yu Hua Divine School. Ling Xiao's face was full of disdain. Xiao Jin also took off his mask, revealing an arrogant expression. Both of them were very young. The age of his soul was only around 19 years old. He was younger than any of the enemies present, yet he showed no fear in the face of being surrounded. Boss, let me do it today. Consider it a gift for you, Xiao Jin said with a smile. Fine, but if you can't hold on, just shout. With boss here, no one can hurt you. Ling Xiao was not boasting when he said this. The 9 underworlds' great demon king was currently at the 2nd level of the divine physique echelon. He believed that even in the chaotic desert sea, there were not many people with such a cultivation level. It would be easy for him to protect Little Gold. Yes. Xiao Jin nodded. His golden robe shone brightly. His eyes turned golden at the same time, cold and merciless. His terrifying aura contended against the many experts of Yu Hua Divine School. What's your strength like? Let me see. Ling Xiao smiled. When he was in the Heavenly Fiend Ghost region, he knew that Xiao Jin's status in the Savage Beast region was not low. However, he had to see how strong Xiao Jin was with his own eyes. Although Xiao Jin was young, his terrifying strength made many Yu Hua Divine School cultivators tremble in fear. He should be the one who killed the godson. That Ling Xiao is just bluffing. He doesn't have the ability to do so. Yu Hua Divine School cultivators were not fools. They could sense who was stronger between Ling Xiao and Xiao Jin. Therefore, they would rather believe that Heavenly Fiend Yu Hua was killed by Xiao Jin than Ling Xiao. This young man probably has an extraordinary background. To be able to kill the godson, he must be at least at the 9th level of the core fragmentation realm. It's unbelievable that he has reached such a cultivation level at his age. He probably has a strong background. I can sense the aura of a demonic beast. He probably came from the Savage Beast region. An expert of this level with such talent must be from the Beast Palace, one of the 3 sacred lands of the Savage Beast region. The Saintess Palace only has female disciples. The Divine Dragon Palace only has dragon descendants. The situation in the Savage Beast region and the Golden Sky region was slightly different. The Golden Sky region only had the Golden City. The Savage Beast region had 3: the Beast Palace, the Saintess Palace, and the Divine Dragon Palace. Don't care so much. Even if he's from the Beast Palace, we can't let him off easily for killing the godson. That's right. Kill. Yu Hua Divine School cultivators hesitated for a long time before finally making up their minds to attack. 3 9th level core fragmentation realm experts attacked at the same time. The space seemed to be distorted and pressed toward Xiao Jin. The 3 of them should be veteran 9th level shattered core experts, regardless of aura or combat strength. They were all above Heavenly Fiend Yu Hua. Heavenly Fiend Yu Hua was still too inexperienced. If not for the treasures, it would not be easy to suppress these experts. Ling Xiao frowned slightly. Although he had killed 9th level core fragmentation realm martial artists and even divine body realm martial artists before, he had relied on the Giant Devil King's power. Now that he did not use the Giant Devil King's power, he felt as if the sky was about to collapse. It was simply suffocating. Sword Tiger, protect my boss. Xiao Jin was still worried about Ling Xiao after all. Ling Xiao's cultivation level made people lose confidence. Yes. Sword Tiger received the order and went to Ling Xiao's side. He released his aura to fight against the 3 experts. With him by his side, Ling Xiao did feel much better. In terms of cultivation level, there's still a huge gap between me and Xiao Jin. It's really different to be a disciple of the Beast Palace. After I'm done here, I have to go to the Golden City as soon as possible. Ling Xiao thought to himself. At this moment, the battle suddenly turned into a treasure. Xiao Jin turned into a ray of golden light as sharp as an arrow. It instantly pierced through the space prison formed by the 3 experts. Kill! Xiao Jin's golden fist emitted a dazzling light as if it was the light of the sun. It directly attacked one of the experts. In a 1 versus 3 battle, the only thing Xiao Jin could do was to defeat them one by one. It would be difficult to face all 3 of them at the same time. Xiao Jin's speed was extremely fast. It was not impossible for him to separate the 3 of them. Ling Xiao watched the battle. He nodded in satisfaction. As a member of the Beast Clan, Xiao Jin's physical strength was not inferior to his at all. It was probably at the level of an emperor weapon. However, he was not sure how strong it was. He would only know in battle, devouring the devil fetus and the golden crow's remnant soul. Xiao Jin's talent is not much worse than mine. Ling Xiao did not feel jealous at all. He only felt comforted. It was just like when he met Dong Huangyu. In the Beast Palace, Xiao Jin believed that Xiao Jin could devour many treasures. The more he devoured, the stronger he would be. Of course, the most important thing was still things with heat. This was probably the direct reason why Xiao Jin's strength had skyrocketed. Chapter 4510. Little Gold's main attack was close combat. Coupled with his strong physical body and the mysterious 9 underworld yellow spring, golden light, it could catch the enemy off guard. Speed was his forte. Coupled with a pair of golden wings on his back, he could easily do things that others couldn't do. Regardless of whether it was aerial combat or ground combat, it was extremely powerful. The Golden Crow clan originally belonged to the Beast clan. Although no real golden crows had been discovered in recent times, they were either remnant souls or fossils. Even if they had a little bit of golden crow bloodline, they would be regarded as a genius. In terms of bloodline, it was probably not inferior to the beast god bloodline or the black tortoise bloodline. Of course, other than the beast god bloodline, Ling Zhao's most terrifying thing was the sky tyrant martial soul. There was no way to compare the two of them. Based on Little Gold's speed, physical body, and ingenious control of heat, it seemed that he could suppress a 9th-level shattered core martial artist. The 3 of them were 9th-level core fragmentation realm martial artists, and only then were they able to fight evenly with him. This was under the condition that Little Gold didn't use the 9 underworld yellow spring golden light or the devouring devil fetus. Ling Xiao even suspected that his ability was probably on par with a divine body echelon cultivator. As expected of an elite disciple of the Beast Palace, it would be too disappointing if he couldn't reach this level. Ling Xiao smiled. He was very satisfied with Little Gold's performance. Not only was Ling Xiao very satisfied, but the surrounding crowd was also very surprised by Little Gold's martial skills. Rumor has it that the Beast Palace still has the Golden Crow clan's cultivation technique. Unfortunately, no one has ever been able to cultivate it. Why does this young man's cultivation technique look so similar to the Golden Crow clan's cultivation technique? Now that you mention it, it's true. I heard that the Beast Palace found a few young people who awakened the Golden Crow bloodline. They're going to focus on nurturing them. Could he be one of them? If that's true, then it's interesting. Although the Yuhua Divine Sect is quite powerful in the chaotic desert sea, they still have to rely on others. They can't afford to offend the 3 forces of the savage beast region. Listening to the crowd's discussion, Ling Xiao found out that Little Gold wasn't the only one in the Beast Palace with the Golden Crow bloodline. However, he believed that Little Gold was the purest. Little Gold was a special life formed from a human soul, a Golden Crow remnant soul, and the devouring devil fetus. The Golden Crow bloodline in his body was the purest. Furthermore, he was the only one who could continuously perfect the Golden Crow bloodline. Boom! Suddenly, Little Gold appeared behind a 9th-level core-shattering stage martial artist. Sharp claws suddenly formed and slammed down. The martial artist at the 9th level of the shattered core stage fell to the ground and was embedded in a deep pit. Everyone from Yuhua Divine Religion exclaimed in shock. Wasn't this young man a little too strong? He was definitely not an ordinary person. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to achieve so much at such a young age. He might even be a disciple of one of the savage beast region's higher-ups. They were now caught in a dilemma. It was simply impossible to get off the tiger. If they stopped attacking, Yuhua Divine Religion would become a joke. His godson, the eldest young master, had been killed. If they didn't even dare to take revenge, what would that make them? If they continued, regardless of the outcome, they would offend the savage beast region. From now on, Yuhua divine religion would have a hard time. Little brother, we can also tell that you are a prince of the beast imperial palace, right? Our Jade Flower sect does not wish to become enemies with the beast emperor palace. So, as long as you hand over Ling Xiao, this matter can be written off. It was impossible to write off. These people obviously wanted to stall for time and wait for the divine body, realm powerhouse, to come out of seclusion. At that time, they wouldn't have to bear any responsibility. Little Gold glanced at Ling Xiao and sneered. Originally, today's matter had nothing to do with me, but you want to deal with my boss. You have to get past me first. I advise you people to quit while you are ahead. Yu Hua, Tianrui, and Heavenly Demon Yuhua's deaths were their own. Avenge them? Does Yuhua divine religion really want to be eradicated? Arrogant. We are just giving you a chance because of the beast imperial palace. I didn't expect you to be so ignorant. Since that's the case, we won't hold back anymore. The 9th level core shattering stage powerhouse, who was slapped to the ground, got up. He glared at Little Gold fiercely. Looks like you're not afraid of being beaten? Who do you think you are? You're just a dog of the Patriarch Society. How dare you hoot in front of Master? You really don't know what's good for you. They hadn't seen each other for a while, but Little Gold's mouth had become much sharper, infuriating the martial artists of Yu Hua divine religion. Today, I'll let you see the strength of the Beast Imperial Palace's prince. Little Gold's lips curled into a sneer. His body suddenly became almost transparent. Then the transparent color quickly turned red. Blazing light instantly burst out. The temperature within 1,000 meters rose abruptly. The entrance of Yu Hua divine sect was melted down in an instant. Some of the martial artists of Yu Hua divine religion who were too close were instantly roasted. The air was filled with the smell of burning. Golden Crow divine ability, Emperor Flame. The spectating martial artists were all glad that they were 1,000 meters away. Otherwise, many people would have died when Emperor Flame appeared. Looking at the martial artists of Yu Hua divine religion, except for those in the core shattering stage, they were all burned to death in an instant. This was how terrifying Emperor Flame was. The current Little Gold was like a blazing sun. It was releasing deadly heat. Not only was it dazzling, but it was also blazing. The earth and air seemed to have completely melted. Ling Xiao looked surprised. Little Gold has finally grown. Compared to before, he could only release the 9 underworld yellow springs golden light. He's obviously stronger now. It seems like I was right to bear the pain and hand Little Gold to those people from the savage beast region. He believed that Cold Plum's strength after releasing her true origin would not be any weaker than Little Gold. Long Chin should be the same. He was really glad for his friends. Of course, no matter how strong Emperor Flame was, he could not hurt Ling Xiao. Although he did not specialize in cultivating flames, his resistance to flames was extremely strong. After a while, Little Gold returned to normal and looked coldly at the pathetic martial artists of Yu Hua divine religion. This is the price for going against the Beast Imperial Palace. Are you still not satisfied? Little Gold sneered. Other than the 3 9th level core shattering stage martial artists, the rest were already thinking of retreating. What could they do in the face of such a powerful martial artist? Other than admitting defeat, they could not think of any other possibility. However, it was difficult to do so. Don't be afraid. We have more people. Let's attack together. One of the 9th level core shattering stage martial artists shouted loudly. It helped the martial artists of Yu Hua divine religion expel some of their fear. It reignited their fighting spirit. Therefore, thousands of people attacked Little Gold from different directions. Everyone's attacks merged into the attacks of the 3 9th level core shattering stage martial artists. Sometimes having more people was not without benefits. At the very least, they could use the battle formation to pass the power of the cannon fodder to the powerhouses and unleash a greater effect. Kill! 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 The martial artists of Yu Hua divine religion shouted in unison. 3 powerful forces surged toward Little Gold at the same time. Chapter 45:11. 3 terrifying forces attacked Xiao Jin at the same time. Each of them was extremely powerful. Each of them had the power to destroy everything. Are you serious? Then don't blame me for being rude. Xiao Jin's face turned cold. The Flame Emperor used it again. However, this time it was even more terrifying than the previous one. The scorching heat instantly turned into meteorites and charged towards the 3 attacks. Boom! 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 Thousands of people attacked together. They were not as powerful as the Flame Emperor's 3 grandson primordial flames. The Yu Hua divine sect martial artists wailed and howled. Another 1,000 people were burned to death. The 3 9th-level shattered core martial artists were also charred black from head to toe, and they emitted a faint fragrance of meat. Your courage is rare, but it's futile. Xiao Jin smiled faintly. I'm in a good mood today, so I don't want to kill. However, don't push me too hard. If you push me too hard, even I'm afraid. Didn't this guy start a massacre? A voice came from the crowd. Idiot. That's just the aftermath of the attack. It's not really a massacre. I can see that this guy is probably one of the top princes in the Beast Imperial Palace. Yu Hua Divine Sect has really kicked an iron plate this time. What are they going to do? Yu Hua Divine Sect must have an Emperor weapon, right? As the crowd guessed, the 3 of them took out 3 Emperor weapons. They did not seem to have any dragon inscriptions. However, Emperor weapons were still Emperor weapons. An Emperor weapon without dragon inscriptions was more outstanding than a divine grade heavenly Emperor weapon. The Emperor weapons in their hands were different. One of them had an umbrella. One of them had a zither. One of them had a mirror. I don't care who you are. Since you killed our godson today, you can't live. The 3 of them stood up again, their faces ferocious. You're very powerful to force us to use our Emperor weapons. However, we must keep you here today. Otherwise, we won't be able to face the sect leader. These 3 people's monarch weapons were actually 3 treasures that were compatible with each other. Heavenly Demon Yu Hua had found them in the Heaven Ruins. They were originally a set. He had given them 3. They often practiced attacking together. Now, they were basically one person. The combined power of the 3 treasures was comparable to an Emperor weapon with 1 dragon pattern. They simply couldn't believe that a young martial artist like Xiao Jin could be a divine physique echelon expert. Thus, he had to be captured or killed today. The 3 of us will trap this brat. The rest of you attack that brat Ling Xiao. A 9th-level core shattering stage martial artist shouted. Yes, the other martial artists felt as if they had been granted amnesty. Facing Xiao Jin, they didn't have any courage to continue fighting. However, they were not afraid of Ling Xiao at all. In fact, he was very excited. These people can also see that little Jin values Ling Xiao very much. As long as they could capture or kill Ling Xiao, everything would be settled. Everyone listen up. Who is willing to help our Yu Hua immortal sect take down Ling Xiao? Yu Hua Divine Sect will reward you handsomely. At the very least, there will be a monarch weapon with 1 dragon mark. These people were cunning enough. They instigated the surrounding martial artists to attack Ling Xiao together. Jianhu couldn't protect him. He would have a greater chance of killing Ling Xiao. Hee, looks like someone thinks I'm a pushover. Ling Xiao smiled. A hint of ridicule flashed across his eyes. Even if he didn't rely on the 9 nether giant demon king with his current strength, it should be easy to deal with a 6th-level core shattering stage martial artist. Powerful treasures coupled with a powerful martial soul, coupled with a terrifyingly powerful physical body. Ling Xiao was even more terrifying than Xiao Jin. It was just that these people couldn't see it. Young Masterling, please hide behind me, Jianhu suddenly said. Xiao Jin asked him to protect Ling Xiao, so he naturally didn't dare to slack off. Thank you, but it's just a few cats and dogs. They can't hurt me, Ling Xiao said indifferently. Jianhu was stunned for a moment. He thought to himself, you're only at the intermediate stage of the core realm. Your ability to talk big is much stronger than your strength. He obviously didn't believe Ling Xiao's words, so he planned to attack later. Otherwise, if something happened to Ling Xiao, how sad would young Master Jin be? Ling Xiao didn't explain anything. He knew very well that strength wasn't obtained by talking, but by fighting. He didn't even look at the Jade Flower sect martial artists who were rushing over. Instead, he was very interested in the emperor weapons of the 3 9th level core shattering stage martial artists. Generally, this kind of strange-looking thing had the most unique power. The three of them surrounded Xiao Jin in midair. One of them held a mirror and pointed it at Xiao Jin. At that moment, Xiao Jin felt that her body was incomparably heavy and she couldn't move. Another person played a guzheng, forming a soundstorm. It completely enveloped Xiao Jin. Just the aftermath of the sound entered the ears of the onlookers, and some of them went crazy. The most terrifying one was the person who used the umbrella. When the umbrella opened, the world was dark as if all the light had been absorbed. The temperature in the darkness was also dropping rapidly. Ling Xiao looked at Xiao Jin. Xiao Jin looked indifferent. He was relieved. There was no need to interfere in Xiao Jin's battle. Xiao Jin, quickly take care of those 3 old men. You don't have to worry about things here. Ling Xiao reminded. Got it, boss. Xiao Jin smiled. Boom! In an instant, a terrifying aura was released from Xiao Jin's body. Her entire body was wrapped in golden light, and it began to change. Originally, she only had a pair of golden wings, and she didn't look like a human. Now, her hair had turned golden, and golden feathers appeared on her body. In an instant, her entire head had turned into the head of a golden crow. Her height didn't change, but there was a blazing aura in her every move. Her strength was obviously much stronger than before. This was Xiao Jin's beastman form. He hadn't fully shape-shifted, but he was already so powerful. The 3 emperor weapons shouldn't be able to do anything to her. The terrifying aura made the 3 9th level core shattering stage martial artists tremble. However, fear couldn't make them retreat. If they couldn't get something from Xiao Jin today, they would probably die. Instead of dying like that, they might as well die with a bang. Yuhua Immortal Religion had also gathered a group of fugitives. These people might not be afraid of Xiao Jin. Even if they knew that they might die, they would still risk their lives. While the 3 9th level core shattering stage martial artists were dealing with Xiao Jin, the rest of the Yuhua Divine sect martial artists had already pounced on Ling Xiao. In the end, Sword Tiger made a move and they were easily stopped. Although Sword Tiger wasn't as terrifying as Xiao Jin, he should be a 9th level core shattering stage martial artist. Ordinary martial artists were naturally no match for him. At this moment, a few desperados charged out from the crowd. They were all 3rd or 4th level core shattering stage martial artists. They had heard Yuhua Divine Sect's call. It was definitely worth it to make a move for an emperor weapon with 1 dragon pattern. By the time Sword Tiger realized it, it was already too late. These people suddenly attacked because they wanted to kill Jinhu and Xiao Jin while they were distracted. Mobile version update website. Chapter 4512. Be careful! Jinhu exclaimed. However, in the next moment, his eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Those martial artists that pounced at Ling Xiao were all turned into corpses in an instant. In the void, only a red sword light could be seen. It was so sharp. That kind of sharpness. Jianhu finally knew that young Master Jin's evaluation of Ling Xiao wasn't just a casual boast. The young man stood proudly in the True Void sect. It was as if he didn't care about anyone. He wasn't afraid of anyone. As long as he was 3 feet away, he could slaughter everything. Who else wants to come? Ling Xiao sneered with the East Victory Sky, sword in his hand. Many people who wanted to attack immediately cowered in fear. Core fragmentation realm martial artists were already the top existences below the divine physique echelon. Yet, 3 or 4 of them were killed by Ling Xiao, just like that. Who else would dare to provoke him? At least you know what's good for you. Ling Xiao smiled contemptuously, put away the East Victory Sky Sword, and released the Twin Tiger Divine Seal. The 2 tigers roared and charged into the crowd of Yu Hua Divine Cult. The people who were fighting with Jianhu were sent flying at almost the same time. There were countless casualties. A bunch of trash. Ling Xiao didn't look at those people anymore. Instead, he continued to watch Little Gold's battle. At this moment, Little Gold was suppressed by the 3 Emperor artifacts and couldn't move. He was being tortured and destroyed. Little Gold, with your strength, aren't you fighting with those 3 trash for too long? Ling Xiao said indifferently, isn't your temper a little too good now? Did your temper change after going to the Beast Emperor Palace? Boss, they're Yu Hua Divine Cult's martial artists after all. It's not good to kill them. Little Gold said. What's not good about it? Ling Xiao asked. Yu Hua Divine Cult is a subordinate force of the Patriarch Assembly. We have to give them some face, Little Gold explained. What's the point of having a disobedient dog? He's going to bite you to death. Do you still expect to reform him? Ling Xiao didn't want Little Gold to be too kind. In a place like the Beast Race, kindness would only bring harm to you. Young Master Jean, Boss Ling Xiao is right. Have you forgotten how those people bullied you? Jianhu roared. He agreed with Ling Xiao's words. Little Gold's appearance was obtained by him after enduring countless humiliation and suffering. Perhaps it was because of this that he had become a little mellow and did not have so much sharpness. Little Jean, Boss wasn't by your side before. You've been wronged, but you have to endure it. But Boss, if you's... Ling Xiao said loudly. Got it, Boss. Xiao Jin's eyes flickered with coldness as soon as he finished speaking. His entire body suddenly emitted a brilliant light. It was the terrifying 9 underworld's Yellow Springs golden light. Was Ling. Boss is right. I'm too naive to expect you to change your mind. Ow. The mirror shattered with a loud sound. Little Gold turned into a golden light and hit the person holding the guzheng. His body was pierced through. Before the person holding the umbrella could react, a golden light shot out. The umbrella was pierced through, and the person's head was also pierced through. Although the 3 of them were dead, the 3 Emperor armaments were destroyed. The 3 of them were seriously injured. If there were no accidents, they wouldn't have the strength to fight anymore. Boss, Little Gold flew to Ling Xiao's side as if he was asking for credit. In the end, you can't be ruthless. If you don't kill them, they'll go crazy. Ling Xiao sighed. They should have lost the ability to fight. Little Gold said. Is that so? Today, Boss will teach you a lesson. A cultivator who hasn't died will always have the chance to turn the tables. You're lucky that you haven't been unlucky during this time. But a person can't be lucky forever. So, if you put everything on luck and chance, it's tantamount to courting death. Ling Xiao said seriously. It was because of their deep relationship that he said all this to Little Gold. Otherwise, he wouldn't care about Little Gold's life or death. Sword Tiger looked at Ling Xiao and Little Gold with a dumbstruck expression. My God, young Master Jean is actually so obedient in front of this Ling Xiao. He's even more obedient than before the Beast Emperor. He really didn't understand how charming this Ling Xiao was. Don't say he was surprised. The surrounding crowd was surprised as well. Little Gold was enough to surprise them, but it was such a strong and talented youth. He was actually so obedient to Ling Xiao. They felt as if their worldview had been turned upside down. Ling Xiao had just finished speaking when the 3 heavily injured 9th level core shattering stage martial artists actually stood up. Moreover, they swallowed a medicinal pill at the same time. This medicinal pill caused their bodies to become completely red. At the same time, it caused their combat strength to rise madly. Boss was actually right. Little Gold frowned. He indeed intended to spare the lives of these people, mainly because he felt that these people were rather brave. They were clearly aware that they weren't a match, yet they still fought desperately. But now, he didn't admire them in the slightest. The current him only felt rage and displeasure. Again and again and again and again. These people were like venomous snakes that pestered people. If you don't kill them, they'll take the opportunity to bite you. They consumed a bloodthirst pill. It's able to increase their combat strength by 10 times for a period of time, but the price is extremely great. After it ends, their cultivations will fall greatly, even becoming crippled. Ling Xiao said indifferently, "Little Gold, now you see. Not killing them will only make them even crazier, and you won't let them let you go." "Ha ha ha, you're right. Even if we pay with our lives today, we'll kill all of you. We'll take revenge for our godson. Take revenge for the eldest young master." The glow of the bloodthirst pill became more and more resplendent, and it even revealed slight madness. Ling Xiao looked indifferently at the 3 people. He turned his head and said to Little Gold, "If you still don't want to do it, I'll help you." Little Gold shook his head. "Boss, I can't always live under your protection. I should also take some responsibility. Strength shouldn't just be strength, but also the strength of the soul, the strength of the spirit. It's good that you can think like this. Go, kill those 3 lunatics," Ling Xiao said with a smile. Yes, Little Gold floated in the sky, his eyes filled with coldness. The bloodthirst pill that the other party consumed was indeed terrifying. 3 martial artists at the 9th level of the Shattered Core Realm had their attacks increased by 10 times at the same time. Then they condensed together, which was an increase of 30 times. It was definitely not easy to deal with. However, would Little Gold be afraid? Perhaps he was still a little hesitant before, but now he wouldn't hesitate anymore. Jade Splendor Light, destroy everything. Jade Splendor God, kill everything. As the 3 people's voices sounded, the terrifying red light on the 3 people condensed together in the sky. It formed a blood-red jade, splendor god. Heaven and earth shook. The martial artists further away also sensed the changes here, although there were constant battles in the Heaven District. But such a powerful attack had not been seen for a long time. Mobile version website, M. Chapter 45:13. He felt that this attack could even severely injure a martial artist in the 1st level of the divine physique echelon. Countless people rushed over to watch the show. The image of the jade essence god became more and more real. "Although I admire you, you don't know what's good for you. Just like what Boss said, I have to give you an end. Don't worry, I'll let you die a quick death." It was as if he didn't notice the jade essence god in the sky and just talked to himself. Finally, the Jade Essence God was completely formed. Jade Essence God, kill the person who dares to blaspheme the divine sex dignity. Die. The voices of the 3 9th level Shattered Core martial artists sounded at the same time. The huge Jade Essence God descended from the sky and pounced on Little Gold. It streaked across the sky like a huge red comet. Even the air was emitting crimson flames from the friction. The terrifying Jade Essence God was dozens of meters tall. Even a martial artist in the divine physique echelon wouldn't dare to take it head-on. Otherwise, they would definitely be severely injured. What a terrifying attack. Even if Little Gold is extremely talented, I'm afraid he'll die from it, right? Who knows? Look at his expression. He's not afraid at all. The onlookers also had 2 different opinions. One thought that Little Gold would definitely die. The other thought that Little Gold's strength wasn't as simple as it seemed. Maybe he could block it. With different guesses and judgments, the onlookers nervously looked at the final battle in their hearts. Ling Xiao's expression was still calm. If Little Gold couldn't even block such an attack, then he really wasted his time in the Beast Palace. One had to know that Ling Xiao had climbed from the bottom of the Golden Sky region to where he was now. However, Little Gold was different. He was directly recruited into the Beast Palace as a special talent. Although he might have suffered a little, he gained more benefits. If he didn't have today's achievements, Ling Xiao would really suspect that he had been slacking off for so long. Little Gold didn't disappoint Ling Xiao. There wasn't a trace of nervousness on his face. The onlookers' worries seemed so unnecessary and ridiculous. Little Gold's body gradually changed. His skin gradually turned dark. Even his wings became pitch-black flesh wings. Demon! Ling Xiao smiled. The golden crow and the devouring demon fetus were Xiao Jin's two most powerful origins. The devouring demon fetus was even more terrifying than the golden crow. After all, it could even devour the golden crow. As strong as the god of jade splendor was, it was no match for the devil-devouring fetus. Devour! A cold voice resounded through the entire universe. Everyone trembled in fear when they saw the demon-like black figure. Even the 3/9 level core-shattering stage martial artists who were prepared to give up their lives felt the aura of despair. What's that? I don't know, but it feels very scary. My heart keeps beating crazily. Jade God approached Little Gold. A gigantic mouth suddenly appeared in the void. He took a bite. He swallowed the huge jade flower god in one gulp. The frenzied energy abruptly stopped. It was as if nothing had happened. Countless people were dumbfounded. This was too much of a cheat. How could it swallow such a powerful attack in one gulp? Is he all right? It won't explode, right? Burp. While everyone was guessing, Little Gold burped. Then the black color dissipated, and he returned to his original appearance. How delicious! Everyone was silent for a long time. At the same time, they had the same thought, what the hell? They did not know that the devil-devouring fetus was connected to a world of nothingness. In that world, any energy could be digested. Of course, the strength of Little Gold's devouring ability depended on his strength. If that attack had been from a divine physique echelon expert, Little Gold would not have been able to devour it completely. However, he could still devour part of it. After devouring, the energy would slowly become a part of Little Gold's strength. This was the reason why his strength had improved so quickly. 9 underworld yellow, spring, golden light. This time, Little Gold did not show any mercy. After devouring the opponent's last attack, he opened his mouth and spat out a dazzling light. In an instant, the light penetrated the 3/9 level core, shattering stage martial artists. Their bodies, including their dantians, were completely destroyed. Even the buildings of Yu Hua Divine Sect were destroyed by this ray of light. The people could not help but sigh. Yu Hua Divine Sect had provoked someone they should not have. What a powerful attack! If he had used this attack from the beginning, all the martial artists in Yu Hua Divine Sect would have died. Exclamations rose and fell in the crowd. Everyone was amazed by Little Gold's strength. There were also people who were confused about Ling Xiao's identity. Little Gold was so powerful, but he had to listen to Ling Xiao's words? If Ling Xiao was just an ordinary person, they would never believe it, even if they were beaten to death. Prince Little Gold is really something. He just came to the chaotic desert not long ago, and he's already taking it out on Yu Hua Divine Sect. However, no matter what, he's still a dog of the Patriarch Society. Don't you think you're going overboard? Suddenly, a voice came from the crowd. Judging from the voice, they were not afraid of Little Gold at all. Even if Little Gold had released such a powerful attack earlier, they were not afraid. Ling Xiao turned his head to look at the crowd. There were many young martial artists standing there. The oldest one was not more than 100 years old. Needless to say, these people should be the elites from the 4 regions and 9 worlds. Now, they could be considered the elites of the Patriarch Society. He did not pay much attention to them. After all, these people did not have much interaction with him. However, the moment he took a casual look, his eyes revealed incomparable surprise. Wang Quan Tianxia. Ling Xiao clearly remembered that it was Wang Quan Jinghua and Wang Quan Tianxia who went to the western region to capture Yu Fenghua. These two people wanted to destroy his country. In the end, the terrifying black demon in his body killed Wang Quan Tianxia. Wang Quan Zhenghua, who was chasing after him, fled frantically. How did this person who was already dead come back to life? Right. What was destroyed at that time should only be his physical body. In the past, Ling Xiao did not know that even if a martial artist's physical body was destroyed, he could still be resurrected. Now that he saw Wang Quan Tianxia, he understood everything. However, Wang Quan Tianxia, who he could only look up to in the past, was no longer so mysterious in front of him. In the past, he had relied on Black Demon's power to destroy his physical body. This time, he wanted to rely on his own power to kill Wang Quan Tianxia. It was this person who took away his beloved woman and destroyed his country. If he had not just come into contact with the mysterious power at that time, everything would have been irreparable. Therefore, his hatred had never lessened. Even if he had changed the consequences, the sins that the other party had committed would not change. A murderer would not be free of sins just because he was lucky enough to be saved by someone. Ling Xiao's eyes released a cold light. Wang Quan family, I want you to know the consequences of snatching my woman. End of chapter. Chapter 45:14. It was an interesting thing. There was still fate between people, but it was fate with Xiao Jin. It was an ill-fated fate with Wang the World. Ling Xiao was happy to see Wang the World because he could finally come into contact with someone of that level. He didn't have to be treated like an ant like before. He had been working hard for this day. Finally, he didn't waste any time. What's wrong, master? Cold Plum asked curiously. I met an acquaintance, but he's also an enemy. Ling Xiao smiled and said, Don't worry, everything will be resolved. Compared to the past, when he felt insignificant and helpless in front of King of the World, today, Ling Xiao had great confidence and strength. He even had powerful friends. What was he afraid of? Currently, Wang the World was wearing a black robe embroidered with golden threads. He was really handsome and eye-catching. The arrogance in his body simply couldn't be stopped from flowing out. His eyes were filled with arrogance, as though no one here was worthy of being compared to him. He was indeed from the Eternal Emperor region, recognized as the strongest place in the 4 regions and 9 worlds. Ling Xiao was very interested. If Wang Quan under the heavens saw him, what kind of expression would he have when he saw the person who had once destroyed his physical body? He didn't make a move immediately, because he wasn't in a hurry. Since he had already seen him, would it be too late to take revenge? More importantly, His Majesty the King had brought along powerful bodyguards this time. They were all in the divine physique echelon. He had already provoked Yu Hua sect, and it was obviously unwise to provoke the Eternal Emperor region. Actually, he had an idea. He wanted to kill this bastard in front of the martial artists from the Eternal Palace. That would be more satisfying. Of course, he had to rely on his own strength. If he relied on the 9 underworld Great Demon King, wouldn't it be the same as before? How boring would that be? People always had to change a little. Boss, what's wrong? Little Gold flew over, looked at the group, and asked. Nothing, I just met an enemy. Ling Xiao smiled. Boss, if you want help, just say the word. Little Gold said, Okay. Ling Xiao didn't reject and only nodded. Then, the two of them looked at the proud young people. Although they weren't the top geniuses of the 9 worlds, such as Huang Jinlan, Yang Shi, Wang Quan, and Tianming, they weren't the top geniuses of the 9 worlds, but they were still in the 2nd tier. He could be considered a first-rate genius. They came from the 4 regions and 9 worlds, and each of them could look down on the world. Not only was he talented, but his reputation and status were also extremely high. These people were all at least at the 8th level of the core-shattering stage. There were even terrifying existences half a step into the divine physique echelon. Even though the so-called half-step wasn't the true divine body realm, it meant that one had grasped a portion of divine origin. His abilities in all aspects would be greatly improved. Little Gold, How is your relationship with the martial artists of the savage beast region? Ling Xiao looked at these people with interest and asked, There are enemies and friends, but there are more enemies. Xiao Jin said calmly, They are all jealous of young Master Jin's talent, so they are targeting young Master Jin. Jianhu interjected, I understand now. No wonder those people from the savage beast region had such ugly looks on their faces, as if everyone owed them money. Ling Xiao pursed his lips in disdain. A total of nearly 100 people finally arrived at the scene. They seemed very unhappy when they saw the mess Yu Hua Divine sect was in. Wang Quan glanced at the geniuses from the savage beast region and said calmly, This prince from the savage beast region is really arrogant. Yu Hua Divine sect is a dog raised by the Patriarch Society in the chaotic desert. If you hit a dog, you have to look at its owner. What are you going to do about this? One of them was clearly a genius from the Beast Palace. He immediately pointed at Xiao Jin's nose and scolded, Prince Xiao Jin, you may be one of the Beast Emperor's chosen princes, but this kind of behavior will ruin the reputation of the savage beast region. Do you know your crime? Who do you think you are? What right do you have to convict me? Xiao Jin glanced at that person disdainfully and said, You'd better mind your own business. Be careful not to get yourself killed one day when you go out. After saying that, Xiao Jin even flashed a sinister smile. That person's face instantly turned red. He said angrily, No matter what, I will definitely report this to the higher-ups. Just wait for your punishment. Xiao Jin's smile became even more disdainful. Hee, a child who only knows how to snitch. Go. It's best if you run into your mother's arms and report while drinking milk. Little Gold, this fellow was really getting better and better at insulting people. That person was so angry that he almost vomited blood. After holding it in for a long time, he didn't know what to say. Suddenly, King of the World saw Ling Xiao. At first, he didn't believe that Ling Xiao was still alive, but after taking a closer look, how could he not remember the enemy who had destroyed his physical body? Even if he turned into ashes, he would still recognize him. You recognized him? Ling Xiao looked at King of the World with a smile. King of the World's current cultivation seemed to be even stronger than before. Who would have thought that the destruction of his physical body would be a blessing in disguise for him? No wonder he seemed to be the leader of this group of people. It's you. Wang Quan's originally calm expression became extremely ferocious at this time. I will kill you. In the next moment, he charged towards Ling Xiao. He wanted to tear this guy apart. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to exact his revenge. Boom! Wang Quan, under the heavens' attack, was blocked by someone. It was Little Gold. I will kill whoever dares to touch my boss. He glared at King of the World fiercely. His cold eyes revealed a cruel radiance. This gave King of the World a fright. Prince Little Gold, you are really crazy. Do you think you can act so recklessly just because you are the prince that the Beast Emperor values? Are you trying to start a war with the Eternal Emperor region? Who is that kid that you are protecting? For him, you are going against King of the World. Are you really going to ignore the rules set by the Patriarch Society? Cut the crap. If you want to fight, you can come at me together. Let's see if I'm afraid of you. Little Gold sneered. His words were already overboard. But those people didn't dare to make a move. After all, Little Gold was the prince of the Beast Emperor. In addition, Little Gold's strength was probably at the top of this group of people. Even King of the World might not be able to suppress him. Who would dare to provoke him? Brat, do you really think that the one surnamed Jean will be able to protect you? He can protect you for now, but he can't protect you forever. King of the World glanced at Little Gold. He didn't continue to attack, because he knew that it was useless to attack at this moment. This person looked at Ling Xiao coldly and said, You better be alive and well. After the heavenly ruins, it will be your death. After saying that, King of the World turned around and left. He definitely wanted to kill Ling Xiao, but he had to do it when Little Gold wasn't around. Right now, he was just retreating for the sake of advancing. Hey, idiot, didn't it feel good when I destroyed your physical body? It's my fault that you were able to survive. Don't worry, I won't be so careless this time, Ling Xiao said with a contemptuous smile. Mobile version update website. M. Chapter 45:15. Ling Xiao looked at Wang Quan under the heavens and laughed in disdain. Wang Quan under the heavens trembled. When he thought of the terrifying existence that he saw that day, he felt fear all over his body. I'm actually afraid of an ant like that. What a joke. Wang Quan under the heavens shook his head and left without looking back. He was actually feeling very complicated right now. That ant that he could casually crush to death back then had now come to the chaotic desert ocean. This really shocked him. He kept asking himself, how did this brat cultivate? However, he still couldn't get an answer. Forget it. Who cares how he cultivated? I'll just kill him. Let's go too. Ling Xiao looked at Xiao Jin and said indifferently, the chaotic desert ocean is indeed interesting. Following which, Ling Xiao, Xiao Jin, and Jianhu left while talking and laughing. They didn't put those geniuses of the 4 regions and 9 worlds in their eyes at all. Xiao Jin, this is for you. When they arrived at Xiao Jin's residence, Ling Xiao gave the map in his storage ring to Xiao Jin. I think it will definitely be of help to you. That's great, boss. We went to you, Hua Divine Sect, for this map. I was even willing to use an emperor weapon to exchange for it. I didn't expect that it would be so easy to get it. Xiao Jin said excitedly. Is that so? Then give me an emperor weapon. All right. Damn, don't you know the meaning of a joke? Ling Xiao was speechless. Xiao Jin actually gave him an emperor weapon. Jianhu was also stunned for a moment before he shook his head and smiled bitterly. This young Master Jin was really too good to his boss. He would take a joke seriously. The relationship between the two of them must be really good. All right, let's not talk about this nonsense. Order a table of food and wine. Let's have a good drink. We won't rest until we're drunk. Ling Xiao said excitedly. All right, let me introduce 2 friends to you. As he spoke, he released Cold Plum and Dong Huangyu from the Dongsheng Emperor. Holy Maiden, Sister Cold Plum. When the 2 of them saw Cold Plum, they were both shocked. I won't introduce Cold Plum. I believe that you guys are more familiar with her than me. This girl is my disciple, my only disciple. Her name is Dong Huangyu. Ling Xiao pointed at Dong Huangyu. I'm so envious. Xiao Jin sighed. But Ling Xiao Jin. He glanced at Dong Huangyu, feeling a little envious. However, Dong Huangyu's aptitude was truly outstanding. Also, there seemed to be a unique energy in her body that caused even him to feel fear. The few of them chatted for a while and got along well. When it came to drinking, they enjoyed themselves to the fullest. After 3 rounds of drinking, they all returned to their rooms to rest. Anyway, the courtyard of this inn had been reserved by Xiao Jin, so they could rest as they wished. Around 3 in the morning, rustling sounds suddenly rang out in the courtyard. Ling Xiao's soul power was the strongest, so he was the first to discover it. Hence, he dashed out. That person also left immediately. He is purposely luring me out? Is he preparing to act against me? Is he someone from King Power? Or someone from the Jade Flower Divine Sect? Ling Xiao smiled. He knew that there was a tiger in the mountain, but he still chose to go there. His current cultivation was clearly unable to keep up. Coincidentally, there was someone who sent him to increase his experience. There was no reason for him not to keep him. As for a trap, would he be afraid? Ling Xiao laughed coldly and chased after him. This person kept running to a secluded place. Finally, he arrived at a place where few people would go. Suddenly, he released a cold killing intent. He even crushed a talisman. It was a trapping talisman. The effect of this talisman was to trap a person, not allowing them to escape. It was similar to Ling Xiao's martial spirit barrier, but its effect wasn't as good. Clearly, This person wanted to kill Ling Xiao. Why do you have to go through so much trouble? Since you asked me to come, it's not like I won't come. Just reveal your true face. In any case, I'm going to be a dead man. Isn't that right? Ling Xiao laughed. You are really bold. You know that I want to kill you, but you actually came out. That person was shocked, but he quickly regained his composure. In this world, there were some people who didn't know the difference between life and death. At this moment, Little Gold, Sword Tiger, Cold Plum, and Dongwang Yu all rushed over. So what if you rushed over? You still can't help him. That person laughed coldly. The secret of the trap talisman is that once the people outside attack, the effects of the talisman will be affected. The cultivator inside will be affected. Of course, you won't care about me, but won't you care about him? Bastard. Little Gold frowned. This was a little difficult to deal with. There's no need to be angry. Since you are here, then just stand there and watch the show. Ling Xiao laughed. Although his current strength was inferior to Little Gold and Cold Plum's, he still had the advantage. But in terms of overall strength, he could play Cold Plum and Little Gold to death. This idiot actually wanted to kill him? He really didn't investigate anything clearly before coming. You really have guts. That person laughed coldly and took off the mask on his face. Savage Beast Clan? Ling Xiao was stunned. He didn't seem to have any enmity with the Savage Beast Clan. Moreover, Little Gold was the prince of the Beast Palace, and Cold Plum was the saintess of the Saintess Palace. Was this guy stupid? Obviously, Cold Plum and Little Gold were also very surprised. I know you are very surprised. That person's body gradually turned into a werewolf, and his body suddenly became much bigger. His cold eyes became even more sinister and terrifying. I'm afraid you don't know? Heavenly Demon Yuhua, who was killed by you, is my man. The werewolf warrior said coldly. Your man? I don't understand. Ling Xiao shook his head. He is someone I love deeply, and the two of us have already pledged our lives to each other. However, all of you killed him, so all of you deserve to die. Unfortunately, I'm not a match for Little Gold or Sword Tiger. So, it's not bad to be able to drag you, the weakest piece of trash, to die with me. The werewolf warrior roared. Ling Xiao was a little embarrassed. A man liked another man? This was a rare thing in the Black Tortoise continent. Moreover, it was despised by ethics. Forget it. It had nothing to do with him anyway. It was just that the other party wanted to kill him, and this had something to do with him. And it had a lot to do with him. You can go. I don't want to kill you, and I can understand your determination to take revenge. So I'll give you a chance to live. Ling Xiao rarely let people come to kill him, but the one in front of him was clearly just an infatuated werewolf. He was too embarrassed to kill him. Ha 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 ha. Ling Xiao, you really know how to talk? Do I need you to let me go? With your strength? Can you hurt me? You really think too highly of yourself. The werewolf laughed wildly. If you're a man, then fight fair and square. Only when you die, or I die, will this matter be considered over. My head hurts. Ling Xiao frowned. Forget it. Since you want to die, I'll play with you. It's just that I really didn't expect that Heavenly Demon Yuhua would have such a loyal lover. Chapter 45:16. The Wolf Clan martial artist in front of him was not weak. He had reached the 6th level of the Shattered Core Realm, although it was nothing compared to Little Gold. But to Ling Xiao, it could really put some pressure on him. To be honest, Ling Xiao had a good impression of this person. After all, it was not easy to be so infatuated these days. But the other party was clamoring to kill him. No matter how much he liked him, he could not stretch his neck and let him kill him. The other party's murderous intent was very strong. Little Gold, just watch. I can deal with this kind of trash. Ling Xiao also had his own persistence. If he could take it down, he would not easily let others do it, let alone let the 9 Nether Giant Demon King do it. Just as he was thinking, suddenly the Wolf Clan martial artist attacked. As expected of a Savage Beast Clan martial artist, his speed was quite fast. In just a moment, he was already in front of Ling Xiao. The corners of his mouth suddenly opened, revealing a cruel smile. His sharp nails were as terrifying as daggers. He stabbed fiercely at Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao dodged easily. In terms of speed, the other party was not as good as him. Thinking about it, he was really emotional. Back then, even the first level of the Shattered Core Realm martial artist gave him a headache. Now that he was at the 6th level of the Shattered Core Realm, he did not take him seriously. Sometimes he had to praise himself. This breakthrough speed really made those geniuses with super backgrounds go crazy with jealousy. Those people could only have a temporary advantage, but he would catch up with them soon. He might even surpass them. Your ability to lie has reached the point of perfection. Are you heavenly demon Yuhua's lover? Who sent you here? Ling Xiao asked coldly as he dodged. Although it was just a feeling, he believed in his judgment. Oh, you saw through me. You're right. Heavenly demon Yuhua and I are not lovers, but business. You killed him and ruined our young master's business. He's very unhappy, so he sent me to kill you. The Wolf Clan martial artist's attacks became faster and faster. He was crazy and excited, as if as long as he could tear apart the opponent in front of him, he would be extremely excited. I see. Damn it, you actually wasted my feelings. Ling Xiao was enraged. If I don't chop you into pieces today, my name isn't Ling Xiao. At this point, his eyes revealed a terrifying, murderous aura. Everyone hated it when others lied to them. Ling Xiao was no exception. To think that he had been touched for a while. What a waste. Since that was the case, all the more he had to get rid of this bastard. Moreover, he wanted to squeeze every last bit of value out of him, because in his heart, he was extremely eager to improve his strength. Now, if he wanted to defeat Little Gold, he had to use the 9 underworld giant demon king. However, even he felt displeased that he had one like this. Therefore, he had to continue improving. At the very least, he had to reach the 1st level of the core fragmentation realm before he could defeat Little Gold with his own strength. As the boss, he couldn't be worse than his little brother. Regardless of whether or not Xiao Jin had received great support from the Beast Emperor Palace. It didn't matter whether Cold Plum had inherited the inheritance of the Saintess. In any case, the truth was that they were stronger than him. If he wanted to protect them, he had to become stronger. Previously, he had relied on the strength of a 9 Nether Troll King to kill Yuhua. He really didn't feel good about winning. However, this Wolf Clan cultivator was the strongest cultivator he had dealt with alone. He could be considered a stepping stone for him to improve his strength. Suddenly, he transformed into the beast soul of the unbounded heavenly rat. His entire body emitted a cold and terrifying aura. With the Dong Shun godly demon sword in hand, he was like a combination of a god and a demon. Kill! He stopped running and decided to kill his opponent. Oh, I thought you would run for the rest of your life. I didn't expect you to have some guts. But this can only be called stupid. The Wolf Clan warrior laughed disdainfully. He also waved his sharp claws and attacked. If you can hurt me, it's my loss. How arrogant he was. However, in the next moment, his expression suddenly changed. 12 Divine Beast Technique. A terrifying giant beast condensed around Ling Xiao. A violent and barbaric aura bloomed. It made the Wolf Clan warrior inexplicably terrified. Are you afraid now? It's too late. The violent giant beast bombarded the Wolf Clan warrior's claw mark. The claw mark shattered with a sound. The Wolf Clan warrior was terrified. He hurriedly circulated his true essence and defended with all his strength. You can't kill me, you lowly trash. The Wolf Clan warrior roared and instantly transformed into a huge demonic wolf. The terrifying demonic wolf increased his strength by 10 times in an instant. The terrifying aura that filled the air was close to the 7th stage of the Shattered Core Realm. He couldn't tolerate being suppressed by such a trash. If this spread out, where would his face be? At this moment, he switched from defense to offense. A violent attack blasted toward Ling Xiao. Sky Wolf Claw. Ling Xiao smiled contemptuously. He didn't block the opponent's attack at all. The power of the opponent's move was merely the power of a high-level, 10th-level Emperor Realm martial skill. But his physical defense had already reached the peak of 10th-level Emperor Realm. He allowed the opponent's claws to bombard his body. Ling Xiao grinned. This is impossible. Seeing that Ling Xiao was unscathed, the Wolf Clan warrior was terrified to the extreme. A fear that came from the depths of his soul suddenly emerged. Void-shattering finger. Void-shattering. The Wolf Clan warrior wanted to escape, but there was no chance. Ling Xiao displayed the void-shattering finger and used the power of the Sky Tyrant martial spirit. At that moment, the space was compressed. Then it shattered. The Wolf Clan warrior's body also turned into powder. It was as if his bones were crushed into powder by a strong force. What a powerful void-shattering! Ling Xiao was shocked. With this move, the enemy wouldn't even be able to leave a complete corpse. The only pity was that the opponent's storage ring was also shattered. It seemed that it was best not to use this move in the future unless it was a dangerous situation. It was too painful. Why are you all looking at me like that? After the Wolf Clan warrior was killed, Ling Xiao absorbed his true essence. He felt that the energy in his cultivation had increased a little. He wasn't far from the next breakthrough. But when he turned around, he found that Cold Plum, Dong Huangyu, Xiao Jin, and Jinhu were all shocked. Only then did he ask, "Master, where is your limit?" Dong Huangyu was the most surprised. When she first met Ling Xiao, it was quite difficult for Ling Xiao to fight against Li Jian, who was in the first level of the Shattered Core Realm. In the blink of an eye, only a day had passed. She didn't expect that Ling Xiao could actually kill a 6th-level Shattered Core Realm warrior, like slaughtering a chicken. Xiao Jin and Cold Plum were also shocked. Although their cultivation levels were higher than Ling Xiao's today, but they had the full support of the top forces. They could get whatever resources they wanted. They also had the guidance of famous teachers. In addition to their outstanding aptitude, they had such achievements. Ling Xiao, on the other hand, was completely different. He had reached where he was today entirely with his own efforts. Without resources, he could only find them himself. Although he had a powerful master, the Yuan Venerate was only in soul form and couldn't provide him with many resources. He had to work hard alone. End of chapter. Chapter 45:17. Xiao Jin had always been grateful and in awe of Ling Xiao. This was because he was well aware of Ling Xiao's terrifying potential and ability. Everyone who wanted to kill him was killed by him in the end. Everyone thought that he was easy to bully, but in the end they found out that he was the most terrifying person, the one that they couldn't offend the most. Xiao Jin and Cold Plum blushed with shame. They had the best resources and the strongest masters. However, they weren't much stronger than Ling Xiao, who climbed up step by step. It wasn't that they weren't strong enough, but that Ling Xiao was too terrifying. If you guys keep looking at me like that, I'll be embarrassed. Let's go back. Ling Xiao smiled, and the few of them returned to their residence. Because of this matter, no one was sleepy anymore. Thus, they started to discuss about the Heaven Ruins. Xiao Jin originally wanted to team up with Sword Tiger. Now, he could directly join Ling Xiao's Battle Alliance team. There was no problem at all. Now that Xiao Jin and Sword Tiger are added, our team will only be stronger. Dong Huangyu smiled. That's right. 3 people became 5. If only that brat Long Chun was here as well. In the chaotic sand ocean, he saw Cold Plum and Xiao Jin, but he still didn't see Long Chin. To be honest, he missed him. Boss, don't worry. Long Chin is a true descendant of the primordial dragon. In the savage beast region, he's like a treasure in the divine dragon palace. His strength will only be stronger than me and Sister Cold Plum. Xiao Jin knew that Ling Xiao was worried about Cold Plum, so he said that. It's good that you're fine. Seeing you guys become stronger, I feel that my decision back then was right. If you guys followed me, you might not have such a development. Ling Xiao sighed. Boss, don't be so emotional. Let's quickly add Sword Tiger and my name to the team before the team evaluation ends. Xiao Jin said, "All right, after so much trouble, the sky is already bright. Let's go take a look." Ling Xiao stood up. "Last time, those idiots actually dared to make things difficult for us. This time, our team is even stronger. They won't dare to mess around anymore." Even now, Dong Huangyu was still brooding over yesterday's matter. The matter of Yu Hua divine religion was, after all, a big deal in the chaotic desert ocean. Although there was a lot of killing here every day. However, half of Yu Hua divine religion was destroyed. His godson, young master, and many experts were killed. This matter was definitely not a small matter. However, in this rumor, people seemed to take the initiative to ignore Ling Xiao and forced this big case to be Xiao Jin. After all, in their eyes, Ling Xiao was just an insignificant kid. Xiao Jin was powerful enough. Just like that, Ling Xiao did an incredible thing, and many people didn't know about him. Even those who were present at the scene did not see much of Ling Xiao's action. When the 5 of them arrived at the Board of Patriarchs' Heaven Ruins office, everyone's attention was on Xiao Jin. Everyone was impressed by Xiao Jin's strength. She killed 3 ninth stage Shattered Core experts by herself. She was really a heaven-defying genius. People suspected that Xiao Jin was already a divine physique echelon expert. Otherwise, how could she be so strong? Everyone stepped aside to make a path for him. The person who received Ling Xiao was the deacon from the previous office, a 9th stage Shattered Core expert. "Our team's evaluation is over, right?" Ling Xiao asked. That person glanced at Ling Xiao, but his gaze quickly fell on Xiao Jin and Cold Plum, a prince of the Beast Palace, a saintess from the Saintess Palace. They actually listened to this kid. Who was this kid? He couldn't figure it out. He smiled and said, "Of course, they've passed the evaluation. Is it okay to add their names to our team?" Ling Xiao asked with a smile. "Of course." Cold sweat flowed down the deacon's forehead. Of course, he already knew what happened in Yu Hua divine religion. Any one of the 3 ninth level core shattering stage experts was stronger than him. Therefore, it was as easy as flipping her hand for Xiao Jin to kill him. After all, this was the prince that the Beast Emperor had personally chosen. It was said that the old man put in a lot of effort for this prince. He loved him very much. Even if Xiao Jin killed him, he wouldn't be able to get any justice and could only die in vain. Very good. Ling Xiao smiled, then pointed in a direction. "Why is that person still there?" The deacon's expression changed instantly. The person Ling Xiao was talking about was the person in charge of the evaluation that day. Hearing Yu Hua Tianrui's order, he didn't let Ling Xiao and the others pass. Ling Xiao was a vengeful person. How could he let this guy go so easily? Everyone, he just made a mistake. The deacon was a little embarrassed. "Tell him to get lost." Ling Xiao said coldly, "I'm already being merciful by not killing him, but you still dare to keep him. Do you really think we're easy to bully? Little brother, where it's possible to make mistakes, one should spare them. Let's just forget about this matter." "Forget about it? Are you sure?" Ling Xiao smiled, but it was a scary smile. "Why are you looking at me? Can't you hear my boss's order, or can't you do it? I'm just telling him to get lost, not killing him. Does he have someone backing him up?" Xiao Jin sneered. "Well, how about this? I'll let you pass the final evaluation and enter the Heaven Ruins directly. Let him go." The deacon frowned and said, "Do we need you to get in through the back door?" Ling Xiao said indifferently, "I just want him to get lost." The deacon's forehead was covered in cold sweat, and he sighed helplessly. "I'll tell you the truth. His father is a higher-up in the Patriarch Society, a divine body realm expert. I advise you not to provoke him. Although Prince Jin is a half-step divine body realm expert, he hasn't reached the divine body realm yet. Although Saintess Kai Dai has reached the divine body realm, she's still injured. As for the 3 of you, You're no match for a divine body realm expert. I can't provoke his father, and neither can you. Did you hear that, idiot? So what if he's a prince of the Beast Palace? So what if she's the Kai-Dai Saintess? In the end, you're just terrifyingly talented. But in terms of strength, you're far from my father's level. That person laughed maniacally and walked over. Deacon, you heard my father's words too. Why don't you do as he says? What did he say? Asked Ling Xiao. Hee, my father told you that the next time we meet, he'll cripple you and chase you out of the chaotic sand ocean. That person said smugly. I understand. Ling Xiao glanced at the deacon. This person probably wanted to do as he said, but Xiao Jin's appearance changed his mind. He couldn't afford to offend anyone. Cripple us? What a great idea! Ling Xiao sneered and suddenly attacked. The person in charge with a good father was instantly sent flying by Ling Xiao with a punch. This punch had completely crippled this person's cultivation. You're crazy. The deacon turned pale with fright. All right, let's cut to the chase. When will the evaluation begin? Ling Xiao didn't plan to kill that piece of trash, so he returned to the main topic. Mobile version update website. Chapter 4518. You must be joking. With Saintess Kai-Dai and Prince Jean, your team will naturally pass the test. You just have to wait for the Heaven's Relic to open. The deacon smiled. He wasn't going in through the back door. With little gold strength, passing the test was as easy as flipping his hand. Thank you. Ling Xiao smiled and left with little gold and the others. Your Highness, you're back? When Ling Xiao arrived at Little Gold's residence, he suddenly saw a few familiar faces. But at the same time, he also realized how ignorant he had been. These were the 5 people who took Little Gold and the others away from the Archean Divine Tomb. In the past, Ling Xiao thought that their strength was at most in the Divine Pulse realm. However, today he realized that their strength was much more terrifying than he imagined. It seemed that they were indeed affected by the laws in the Archean Divine Tomb, and their strength was greatly weakened. The strongest person was actually a half-step divine body realm existence, just like Little Gold. He had a pair of horns on his head and was very tall. His cold eyes were filled with a sense of bewitching confidence. This person was called Xuelei. He was a bull demon martial artist. Beside Xuelei was Zhou Guang, whose figure wasn't any weaker than Xuelei's. There were strange patterns all over his skin. As a tiger martial artist, his strength was only slightly weaker than Xuelei's. They were both in the half-step divine body realm. The third person was called Xianmu. This person was a little special as he was a tree spirit. His strength was slightly weaker as he was only in the 8th stage of the Shattered Core realm. The fourth person was called Lan Mao. She was the only female in the group and looked extremely seductive. She was a snake martial artist in the 9th stage of the Shattered Core realm. The 5th person was called Ying Yan. He was an eagle martial artist in the 9th stage of the Shattered Core realm. His eyes made people uncomfortable. Ling Xiao vaguely remembered that there should be 6 of them. The last one was called Zilin. He was a flood dragon who had awakened the flood dragon bloodline and was very rare. He was probably also in the half-step divine body realm and was the most terrifying of the 6. You dare to show up? Xiao Jin's pupils suddenly constricted, revealing a strong sense of hatred. Prince Little Gold, what are you doing? If it weren't for us, you wouldn't have reached the Savage Beast clan and wouldn't have the status you have today. Ian Light sneered. When Ling Xiao saw his expression, he knew that things were not that simple. Back then, when these people took Xiao Jin, Cold Plum, and Long Chin away, he agreed, because he knew it would be beneficial to the 3 of them. However, he had no idea what happened after that. It must be very bitter. Bullshit. You guys did treat us well at the beginning because we were the key to your achievements. But later on, as our strength continued to grow, you felt that you could no longer control it. Thus, they targeted us in every way they could. Sister Cold Plum's injury is related to you, right? Long Chen was almost ambushed by you. Needless to say, I almost died in your hands. Thank him? Humph. I wish I could kill all of you right now. Xiao Jin was furious. This made Ling Xiao realize that Xiao Jin's hatred for these people was extremely deep. Moreover, Cold Plum's injuries were actually related to these people. This made Ling Xiao feel a strong sense of hatred. We meet again. Ling Xiao suddenly spoke. The five of them seemed to be very surprised. Surprised that he knew Ling Xiao? So they turned their heads and looked carefully for a long time. How can it be? Lan Mao was the first to think of Ling Xiao's identity. Isn't this kid the guy from the immemorial divine tomb? He even killed our companions. It's him. Yes, it's him. The others finally recognized Ling Xiao. They were extremely shocked. They really did not expect that Ling Xiao really came from the western region to the 4 regions and 9 worlds, and even to the chaotic desert sea. How did you do it? Xue Lei asked in shock. It doesn't matter how he did it. When we were in the immemorial divine tomb, we couldn't use our nomological strength. But here, nomological strength will no longer restrain us. This kid killed our people, so we must not let him go. Ian Light said sinisterly, Yes, we must kill him. Lan Mao also smiled and said, Prince Jean actually teamed up with such a trash. How interesting. Say that again. Let's see if I dare to kill you. Xiao Jin's golden eyes flickered with cold killing intent. Ling Xiao was the person he respected the most. He would not be polite to anyone who dared to insult Ling Xiao. Lan Mao shrank back. The stinking brat they could bully in the past had grown to a point where they could no longer control him. To be honest, Lan Mao was somewhat afraid of Xiao Jin. Otherwise, she would have attacked Ling Xiao right now. Prince Jean, we're not here to quarrel with you today. We'll ask you one last time. Do you want to join our team? Xue Lei said coldly. No need. You may not remember what you did in the past, but I won't forget it. Go back and tell Zilin. If we meet in the heavenly ruins, we'll be enemies. Xiao Jin flatly refused. Fine. Since you've decided, it doesn't matter how we persuade you. Let me ask you one more thing. The other team in the Savage Beast region is missing a wolf warrior. I have some relations with him. Have you seen him? Xue Lei asked again. Killed him. This time, it wasn't Xiao Jin who answered. Instead, it was Ling Xiao. I killed him. You? Ha, with just you? Xue Lei sneered disdainfully. Then he looked at Xiao Jin and said, You're good at killing beasts. You're good. Even if the Beast Emperor loves you, you can't do whatever you want. Don't try to scare me with that. If he dares to kill my boss, I'll kill him. Xiao Jin sneered. In his eyes, he didn't belong to the Savage Beast region. He was only kind to the beast race martial artists who had treated him well. But if someone wanted him to attack Ling Xiao, he would not tolerate it. Good, very good. You better be careful in the heavenly ruins. We were able to take you away from the immemorial divine tomb, so we have the ability to kill you. Xue Lei said to the others, Let's go. Fighting outside would cause too much of a commotion. Even if they killed Xiao Jin, the Beast Emperor would be displeased. It wouldn't do them any good. It was better to do it in the heavenly ruins. Even the Beast Emperor wouldn't know. Xue Lei, it's time to do it. Those 3 brats are about to shit on our heads. Zhou Guang said viciously. Of course we're going to do it, but we need to plan it in detail. We can't let the Beast Emperor know. Otherwise, we'll have to face the consequences. Xue Lei nodded. Damn it. If we knew we'd bring back such trouble, we would have killed them. Lan Mao said coldly. You can't say that. If we didn't use this credit, we wouldn't have the status we have today, and we wouldn't have gotten so many resources. Now it's time to give it up. Xianmu smiled. That's right. There are gains and losses. When it's time to give it up, we have to give it up. Hawkeye said with a vicious expression. Watching those people leave, the tense atmosphere gradually dissipated. Chapter 45:19. Everyone entered the house. After sorting out the situation, the The savage beast region was recognized as the third strongest force in the 4 regions and 9 worlds. They already had so many geniuses. There were 4 half-step divine physique echelon cultivators. There was even Cold Plum in the divine body realm. However, Cold Plum was injured and couldn't use her full strength. Then, wouldn't the second strongest heaven and the first strongest Eternal Emperor region be even stronger? Do you know anything about the Eternal Emperor region? Ling Xiao suddenly asked. He believed that Kingly Under Heaven wouldn't let him go. It was necessary for him to understand the Eternal Emperor region's strength. The Eternal Emperor region is very scary. As the most powerful force, there were 7 half-step divine body realm martial artists among the martial artists who had come this time. Kingly Under Heaven isn't the strongest, but he's still one of the 7. That's right, boss. You probably don't know yet, but there are so many geniuses here. Since there are so many geniuses here, the Patriarch Society has relaxed the limit. A team can have a maximum of 10 people. Xiao Jin reminded him. Damn, that's insane. Ling Xiao couldn't help but smile bitterly. 7 half-step divine body realms? This was just the surface data. It was no secret that the martial artists hid their strength. Who knew if there were any divine body realms among the 7? The Heavenly Hall ruins were restricted by age, not cultivation. Even a divine physique echelon cultivator would definitely be able to enter. However, the stronger the enemy, the more excited he felt. If there weren't any strong enemies, he would feel lonely. Xiao Jin, there are only 5 days left before we enter the Heavenly Hall ruins. I want to leave for a while. Ling Xiao's idea was simple. Yu Hua Divine cult wanted to kill him, but they didn't because of Xiao Jin. Although this was safer, it couldn't improve his strength. He needed to constantly fight in order to continue improving. Anything could happen in 5 days. It's dangerous, boss. Xiao Jin said worriedly. Xiao Jin, before I met you guys, I was also like this. Yu Hua Divine cult only has a dozen divine body realms. Most of them are guarding the Heavenly Hall ruins. How would they have the time to kill me? Those who want to kill me are mostly core realm and core fragmentation realm experts. I can deal with them. Ling Xiao smiled, seeing that Xiao Jin still wanted to say something. Ling Xiao directly said, I've already made up my mind. Just help me take good care of my obedient disciple. As for Cold Plum, you can choose to stay here with Xiao Jin and the others, or you can choose to temporarily return to your residence in the Saintess Palace. This time, Ling Xiao really didn't plan to bring a single person. Otherwise, how could he use himself as bait to attract those people to chase after him? After saying this, he turned around and left without looking back. 5 days later, gather here again. After a long time, a voice sounded. Little Gold sighed and said, Boss's temper is still the same as before. Forget it, let's do as he says. Ling Xiao's plan was surprisingly successful. After he left Xiao Jin and the others, the people who were chasing after him had arrived. Within a day, he experienced over 100 battles of various sizes, killing to his heart's content. However, he was also exhausted. The harvest was naturally huge. The energy in his cultivation had finally increased to 80%. He was also obviously more proficient in the use of the god-fiend black tortoise body. The next day, Ling Xiao encountered a strong enemy. He was targeted by a martial artist at the 7th level of the Shattered Core Realm. As he had fought too many times before, he was exhausted at this time. Even medicine couldn't recover, so he planned to temporarily hide. Ling Xiao, who was looking for a place to hide, discovered that a wedding was being held. So he turned around and blended into the crowd, coming to a room. In the room, the bride was crying. There was only one person in such a large wedding room. Ling Xiao hesitated for a moment and didn't speak. His movement technique was excellent. Even if he walked in the room, the bride wouldn't hear him. However, the bride cried more and more sadly. Ling Xiao really had a headache, so he casually asked, The wedding night is a joyous event in life. Why are you so sad? Who? The bride actually didn't scream. Originally, Ling Xiao was ready to cover her mouth. Just a passerby. Ling Xiao said indifferently. Just as the bride was about to speak, an angry shout suddenly came from outside. The wedding is stopped. Everyone gather in the courtyard, including the bride. When the bride heard this voice, she suddenly understood everything. If you trust me, hide here. She only said one sentence and went out. About 10 minutes later, the sound of cursing and swearing could be heard. The bride returned to the room. The red veil was already gone. A fair but sorrowful face was revealed. You really didn't leave? I still trust you more, Ling Xiao said with a smile. As he smiled, he ate the snacks on the table. You helped me, I'll help you too. Tell me what you want to do the most now, and I'll help you do it. The bride glanced at Ling Xiao, wanted to say something, but then shook her head. Forget it, hurry up and run. Offending you Hua Divine sect won't end well, just like me. Speaking of this, the bride became more and more sad. From the looks of it, you seem to have a grudge with you Hua Divine sect. Ling Xiao smiled. I won't hide it from you. I also have a grudge with them. If you trust me, you can tell me. Whether I can help you or not, we'll talk about it later. The bride hesitated for a moment, then finally nodded. The story was very simple. The girl and her lover were both young martial arts geniuses. So one day, they went to the chaotic desert together. Unfortunately, reality wasn't as good as they imagined. The girl was fancied by someone. This person was an old man who had lived for nearly 300 years, and his strength had reached the 3rd level of the core fragmentation realm. The old man had 3 sons, all of whom had joined Yu Hua Divine Sect, and one of them was working beside the sect master. Very impressive. The old man's strength wasn't much, but his son was capable. Relying on his son's power, he killed the girl's lover and wanted to forcefully take the girl. It was under such circumstances that Ling Xiao broke into the bridal room. The reason why the Yu Hua Divine Sect's martial artists left so quickly was because the old man's son had enough face. Now the old man wanted to forcefully take the girl. He wanted to take her as his concubine, and his 100th concubine at that. It couldn't be helped. Martial artists were generally stronger in that aspect, and mortals couldn't compare to them. 100 concubines wasn't a big deal. The story was a bit melodramatic, but life was even more melodramatic. Ling Xiao had seen this kind of thing many times in reality. In the Black Tortoise continent, using strength or power to forcefully take someone else's wife and daughter. This wasn't news at all. But since he encountered it, and it was related to Yu Hua Divine Sect, he might as well intervene. This bride could be considered to be his benefactor. If he was really discovered just now, if he didn't use the 9 Nether Giant Demon King, he would really be killed. If he used the 9 Nether Giant Demon King, he might attract the divine physique echelon experts of Yu Hua Divine Sect. Chapter 45:20. That's simple. I'll help you get rid of that shameless old thing. But after that, I'm afraid you'll have to leave the chaotic sand sea. Ling Xiao thought for a moment and said, since this matter was related to the Yu Hua Divine Sect, he naturally had to interfere and cause trouble for them. Young hero, thank you for your kindness, but forget it. That person is a martial artist at the 3rd level of the core shattering realm. Of his 3 sons, 2 are at the 5th level of the core shattering realm, and 1 is at the 6th level of the core shattering realm. They're all extremely powerful existences. You're no match for them at all. The bride smiled bitterly and shook her head. In fact, when she came, she was in high spirits. But now, her will had long been depressed. She saw that Ling Xiao did not hide his cultivation base and was only at the middle stage of the extreme core stage. So she did not want to implicate Ling Xiao. However, the more the bride did not want to trouble Ling Xiao, the more Ling Xiao felt that it was meaningful for her to help him. Suddenly, there was a commotion outside. It was about time to disturb the bridal chamber. Ling Xiao entered his shadow warrior form. The bride did not notice and thought that he had left. She looked a little disappointed. "Forget it. I don't expect him to do anything. It's worth it to help someone before I die." The bride smiled bitterly. The door was pushed open, and a group of people walked in. The one in the lead looked the oldest. He should be the bridegroom. This guy was drunk. He was supported by his 2 sons. There was another son walking beside him with an arrogant face. He was probably the servant who served tea to the Yu Hua divine sex leader. Damn, a dog is so smug. There was a group of people following behind. Many of them were wearing the Yu Hua divine sex uniform. Clearly, they were giving face to these 3 people. "Io, Daddy, your luck with women is not bad." One of the people supporting the old man smiled and said, "Such a beautiful young lady. Even your son is envious. I want to hug a beauty and spend a good night with her. If you like, wouldn't it be great if we father and son could have fun together tonight?" The drunkard laughed. From the looks of it, he didn't seem to be drunk. Ling Xiao sighed. No wonder the bride was crying. Marrying such a person, perhaps he would get tired of her and send her to a brothel. "Father, you can't favor one and discriminate against the other. Big brother and I also want to enjoy ourselves." Another son said excitedly, All right, the 4 of us will take care of this girl tonight. To tell you the truth, this girl was unwilling at first. Her lover was made into a meat bun by this old man and was prepared to let this girl eat it. The drunkard's words were getting more and more ridiculous. The more he spoke, the more indignant he became. Ling Xiao didn't like this kind of thing to begin with. Now that he was indebted to this woman, he was even more displeased. "You animals!" The bride was finally angry. The reason why she did not commit suicide was because she thought that even if she married this old man as a concubine, she would still be able to find a way to escape. However, he didn't expect this family to be so shameless. How could she bear it? A dagger was placed against his neck, and a dark red color appeared on it. "Humph, you still want to commit suicide." The son, who was walking alone, let out a cold snort. With the point of his finger, the dagger shattered into pieces. At this moment, the bride was in complete despair. She couldn't even commit suicide. What should she do? When she thought about her fate, she almost collapsed. Her true yuan had been sealed, and she couldn't detonate her inner core. Also, biting one's tongue to commit suicide was impossible for a divine core warrior. In front of her was a path of no return. A path of no return filled with darkness. Damn it, you really are a bunch of snakes and rats. Why are there so many evil people like you in this world? Ling Xiao's cold voice sounded out from outside the room. He thought it would be bad for the girl's reputation if he came from the bridal chamber. But if he came from the outside, there wouldn't be such a problem. The bride's despairing heart was suddenly filled with hope, as if it was soaked in a drop of spring of life. Although the hope was just as slim, but it was better than nothing. At the last moment of her life, there were still people who were willing to lend her a helping hand. She was satisfied. "Young master, please leave. You're no match for them. I'm already satisfied that you're here." Although she said that, the bride still hoped that a miracle would happen. Ling Xiao walked out from the crowd and entered the bridal chamber. He looked at the father and sons with disdain. "Who the hell are you? How dare you meddle in our family's business?" The drunkard walked in front of Ling Xiao and burped. The smell of alcohol made Ling Xiao furrow his brows. Ling Xiao immediately threw a kick at the drunkard. The kick landed at the perfect spot, and it destroyed the drunkard's manhood. The kick sent the drunkard flying, and he crashed onto the ground. He coughed out a mouthful of blood and screamed like a pig being slaughtered. "You don't need to know who I am. You just need to know that I like to cause trouble for the Yu Hua divine sect. That's enough. A bastard like you doesn't deserve to be a man. I might as well cut off your manhood forever." Ling Xiao said with a cold sneer. The bride was stunned by what she saw. The drunkard was a martial artist at the 3rd level of the Shattered Core realm. He was actually sent flying by a casual kick. His strength was very strong. 2 of the 3 sons who were at the 5th level of the Shattered Core realm walked directly toward Ling Xiao. You dare to make an enemy of the Yu Hua divine sect? Are you tired of living? The 2 of them looked down at Ling Xiao condescendingly, even though Ling Xiao sent their old father flying with a kick. They had no need to be afraid, because the 2 of them were much stronger than their old father. Kill him for me. The drunkard was howling hysterically. The 2 of you aren't good people either. You actually wanted to file your father's concubine. How shameless! Ling Xiao didn't care about the 2 of them at all. When the 2 of them heard this, their faces became very ugly. They roared and pounced toward Ling Xiao, wanting to kill Ling Xiao. The bride covered her mouth in fear. 1 5th level Shattered Core realm martial artist was already very terrifying. Now there were actually 2 of them. How could Ling Xiao possibly stop them? However, just as she was about to cry out in surprise, she saw Ling Xiao casually throw out 2 punches. These fists were suffused with white light and were incomparably fierce. The 2 sons wanted to block, but it was useless. They were hit in the abdomen and flew out. They were directly crippled. Even if they wanted to recover, it would probably take a few months. At that time, the bride would have long been far away from here. This scene made the surrounding people dumbstruck. Where did this arrogant person come from? He was actually so strong. 2 martial artists at the 5th level of the Shattered Core stage were actually crippled by him so easily. Could it be that the woman's friend came? The bride was also dumbfounded. She thought that Ling Xiao was just a mere middle-stage core realm martial artist, and his cultivation was even lower than hers. That was why she didn't ask Ling Xiao for help, who knew that this guy was actually so strong. Before the crowd could react, Yi Zichen said, "The 3rd son, the manservant who served tea beside the Yu Hua divine sect master, suddenly attacked Ling Xiao. The moment Ling Xiao finished his attack, he launched his attack, and the distance was so close. Ling Xiao had no chance to dodge at all. This kid was waiting for this moment." End of this chapter. Chapter 45:21. The sneak attack was extremely fast. Ling Xiao did not seem to be prepared to defend at all. The Yu Hua divine sect cultivators who came to attend the wedding revealed a gloating expression. However, in the next moment, they were all dumbfounded. The attack of a 6th level core shattering stage cultivator did not cause any damage to Ling Xiao. Layers of hard armor appeared on Ling Xiao's back. It had completely blocked his attack. Then, Ling Xiao turned his head to look at the person. He saw the horrified expression on the person's face. He transformed into the beast god and grabbed the person's neck with his claws, lifting him up. "You want to kill me?" Ling Xiao laughed sinisterly. No, I didn't." A 6th level core shattering stage cultivator was like a pitiful kitten in front of Ling Xiao. "Now you're acting pitiful? F***CKU. I didn't want to kill you, but I hate you." As Ling Xiao spoke, his other hand directly penetrated the 6th level core shattering stage cultivator's dantian. F***CK. So dirty, your heart is black." Ling Xiao waved his hand in disdain. The bride was completely stunned at this time. Never in her wildest dreams would she have imagined that Ling Xiao would be so powerful. "Bah, a bunch of trash. Bride, let's go. I'll take you away from this dirty place." Ling Xiao smiled and waved at the bride. However, at this time, the Yu Hua divine sect cultivators who came to attend the wedding blocked the door. There were dozens of them. All of them were at the 3rd or 4th level of the core shattering stage. "Do you want to die too? Scram!" Ling Xiao snorted and temporarily put the bride into the Dongxing Emperor ring. He shouted sternly, "You want to leave after killing our Yu Hua divine sect people? Impossible." A voice came from the crowd. Ling Xiao did not waste any more time. Heaven covering great palm. After being strengthened by the fiend god energy, the heaven covering great palm had reached the early 10th level of the emperor rank. It was a piece of cake to deal with this kind of bastard. There seemed to be a thunderclap in the sky as a giant hand tore the sky apart and descended. He directly slammed into the crowd. The dozens of Yuhua sect cultivators who were blocking Ling Xiao's path did not even have the chance to regret their actions. As the giant palm fell, all of them died tragically. They were all smashed into meat paste. Then, Ling Xiao tore through the air and left. As he rose into the air, he suddenly opened his mouth and spat out a ball of flame. The entire mansion was ablaze. Ling Xiao didn't even look at him as he leaped into the distance. He planned to send the bride out of the chaotic sand ocean first. This could be considered as being extremely benevolent. Who is he? Why is he so terrifying? Outside the burning mansion, people were panicking. Don't tell me it's the Prince of Jin who has recently risen to fame? Everyone was talking about it, but no one thought that it was Ling Xiao. It was obvious that even though Ling Xiao had caused such a huge commotion, he still had not been able to do anything. People still looked down on him. Soon, he arrived outside the chaotic sand ocean. Ling Xiao released the bride and helped her remove the seal on her vital essence. I can't thank you enough for your kindness. I'm Linling you. There's nothing to thank my benefactor for. Take this as a souvenir. Linling Yu gave her personal item, a jade pendant, to Ling Xiao. Benefactor, please don't refuse. When my father gave this to me, he said that this pendant was not ordinary and that there was a universe within it. Unfortunately, I'm slow-witted and can't understand it. I'm giving it to you, benefactor. I hope that you can use it. Seeing that Ling Xiao was about to refuse, Lin Langyu hurriedly stopped him. All right then, I'll take it, Ling Xiao said as he put the jade pendant around his neck. Benefactor, be careful. Goodbye. Lin Langyu took a deep look at the chaotic sand ocean. I might come back to this place again. After saying that, she turned and left. Ling Xiao shook his head. This girl was really stubborn. She actually dared to come back to this place after suffering such a great calamity. Forget it. It had nothing to do with him anyway. As for the jade pendant, he felt that there was some strange power brewing within it. This was an unexpected gain. Ling Xiao, I knew it was you. When he turned around and was about to return to the chaotic sand ocean, a voice suddenly rang out. Damn it! 8th level of the core fragmentation realm. Ling Xiao frowned. Even if he used all his skills, he would definitely not be a match for this level of expert if he did not use the 9 Nether Giant Demon King. This person held a long spear in his hand and rode on a flying tiger. He was wearing silver armor and had extraordinary combat strength. Knowing that he was no match for him, Ling Xiao still fought with him. In the end, he even used the Sky Tyrant Martial Soul. However, he was still no match for his opponent. Using the Sky Tyrant Martial Soul, he could at most fight with a 7th level core fragmentation realm martial artist. 8th level was still a little troublesome. 9 Revolution Gourd, Flying Sword. A sword light suddenly appeared. Ling Xiao had no choice but to use his Dharma treasure. The 9 Revolution Gourd with 2 dragon patterns was extremely terrifying. A sword light instantly rushed out. Before the martial artist could see what was going on, his head was chopped off. After taking advantage of the situation, Ling Xiao was not willing to hold back at all. He used all kinds of abilities again, forcing the 8th level core fragmentation realm martial artist to retreat. Twin Tiger Divine Seal. 2 fierce tigers suddenly appeared and directly pushed the martial artist to the ground. He held down Devour. This was the power of a Dharma treasure. Ling Xiao felt that if the Sky Tyrant Martial Soul was combined with these Dharma treasures, he would definitely be able to defeat this guy. Unfortunately, he felt that it was a little unfair. However, he did not dare to be negligent. The battle here was lively, and the aura must have been released. More martial artists from Yu Hua Divine sect would appear. He had to leave. Sky Tyrant, Void Shattering Finger. When the Twin Tiger Divine Seal restrained the opponent, Ling Xiao used the Void Shattering Finger in the state of the Sky Tyrant Martial Soul. A A strange black hole appeared behind the martial artist and sucked him in. A moment later, it was completely torn apart. Every time he used the void-shattering finger, it was terrifying enough. Let's go! After killing someone, Ling Xiao did not dare to stay. He hurried to the chaotic sand sea and headed to a remote place. These days, he had to rely on such battles to improve his strength. The battle just now and the battle in the house caused the energy in his cultivation sea to increase by 10%. It reached 90%. The breakthrough was just around the corner. Stop! Not long after, he was surrounded again. This time it was actually more than a dozen 7th-level core fragmentation realm martial artists, although each of them was not as strong as the martial artist just now. But the number was enough. There's no other way. Ling Xiao gritted his teeth and directly released the 9 Nether Giant Demon King. Originally, he wanted to use the 9 Nether Giant Demon King's combat power to kill these people. Unexpectedly, a strange scene appeared. After killing the group of martial artists, the 9 Nether Giant Demon King actually flew away. F***CK. Ling Xiao was stunned. Master, what's going on? I just sensed a powerful aura leading the 9 Nether Giant Demon King away. Yuan Venerate said, "Who dares to kidnap my things? F***CK, I want to see who it is." Ling Xiao was furious. Although the other party's aura was powerful and his soul power was terrifying, it did not mean that his strength was strong. Everyone read. Chapter 45:22. Ling Xiao had seen many sealed experts, and they also had powerful bewitching abilities. However, their combat strength was not much. In any case, he would definitely not give up the 9 Underworld Great Demon King so easily. This thing was his trump card. It could make him not even afraid of divine physique echelon experts. If he lost it, how depressing would that be? A moment later, Ling Xiao arrived at a desolate and uninhabited place. There were no villages or towns here, and there was not even a single person. It was so desolate that it was like a forbidden area. He was very familiar with the aura of the 9 Underworld Great Demon King. He had even injected a trace of his soul imprint into that guy's body. He could easily find out where the 9 Underworld Great Demon King was. It's very far away. Ling Xiao could feel that the 9 Underworld Great Demon King's aura was extremely far away from him. This chaotic desert sea was incomparably huge, so it was normal for it to be far away. He followed the aura and flew over. At the same time, the 9 Underworld Great Demon King was sitting cross-legged in front of a cave. He was motionless as if he was already dead. The terrifying demonic aura on his body was also forcefully suppressed. There were many terrifying demon beasts nearby. Once they got within 1,000 meters of this cave, they would be like the 9 Underworld Great Demon King, losing all their killing intent and demonic aura. There seemed to be something terrifying hidden in that cave. It was enough to suppress all demons. The cave entrance was like a black hole. It kept spinning as if anyone would be sucked in as long as they got close. Damn, what a haunting ghost. Ling Xiao suddenly stopped in his tracks because a martial artist from Hua Divine sect appeared in front of him. He was also in the 8th stage of the Shattered Core Realm, and his strength was exactly the same as the martial artist he killed earlier. Moreover, his clothes were also very similar. He was probably a middle to high-level martial artist from Hua Divine Sect. Ling Xiao did not know much about the structure of Hua Divine Sect. However, if this person was in another sect, he would at least be in existence like a deacon. This person's weapon was different from the previous person. The previous martial artist used a long spear, and this person was holding a giant hammer in his hand. He was also riding a powerful flying tiger. This flying tiger strength was in the 7th stage of the Shattered Core Realm. I heard that this Hua Divine School has given the Flying Tiger Knights Regiment. They should all be members of the Knights Regiment. It was unknown where the Yuan Venerate had obtained this information. However, thinking about it carefully, Yuan venerates had traveled all the way from the immortal court continent to the sky dragon continent. Perhaps he had been to the chaotic desert before, so it wouldn't be strange for him to know about the Jade Flower sect. He never casually asked about his master's matters. This was the courtesy of a disciple. The Flying Tiger Knight held a giant hammer in his hand and stood proudly in the void like a thunder god. There was a strong killing intent in his cold eyes. A terrifying aura swept towards Ling Xiao like a flood. Scram! I have serious business to attend to. Right now, Ling Xiao was most concerned about the 9 Nether Demon King. In addition, he had already killed a Flying Tiger Knight who was in the 8th stage of the Core Shattering Realm, so he was not that afraid. He had tried it before. As long as he released the Tyrant Martial Soul and combined it with the power of the magic treasure, it was absolutely possible to kill an 8th level Shattered Core Martial Artist. Although sometimes he had to catch his opponent off guard. What arrogance! My companion was killed by you using a magic treasure, right? The Flying Tiger Knight glanced at Ling Xiao and was rather disdainful of Ling Xiao's cultivation base. He believed that Ling Xiao could not have killed the Flying Tiger Knight with his own strength. Since he had done it, there was only one possibility. That was a magic treasure. Ling Xiao must have used an extremely terrifying treasure. How long-winded. If you want to know, try it with your life. Ling Xiao sneered. Humph. The Flying Tiger Knight snorted and waved the giant hammer in his hand. In an instant, violent thunder sounded everywhere. The spiritual energy in the sky seemed to have been ignited. Since you want to die, how can I not fulfill your wish? The Flying Tiger Knight urged the flying tiger beneath him and traversed a distance of several hundred meters in an instant. He charged towards Ling Xiao. A gale rose and wrapped in thunder, and lightning bombarded Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao felt immense pressure. At that moment, the giant hammer smashed down from above, and the space seemed to have been shattered by the terrifying power. 9 Revolution Gourd, Light Shield. Ling Xiao wanted to end the battle quickly this time, so he entered the Beast Soul transformation state of the unbounded heavenly rat from the beginning. He also used the Sky Tyrant Martial Soul. Boom! The giant hammer smashed on the light shield and made a terrifying sound. Ling Xiao did not even take half a step back. The Flying Tiger Knight said in surprise, I didn't expect you to have an Emperor weapon with 2 dragon patterns. No wonder you could kill the young master. However, your strength is not enough to unleash the full power of the Emperor weapon. Seeing Ling Xiao use the 9 Revolution Gourd, the Flying Tiger Knight was surprised but not panicked. Wild thunder, falling sky. With a roar, the giant hammer shone with a terrifying light. It smashed towards Ling Xiao crazily. It avoided the light shield and surrounded Ling Xiao from all directions. Moreover, it was thunder and lightning. The terrifying speed was impossible to dodge. 9 Revolution Gourd, 9 Revolution Armor. The gourd spewed out a cloud of black smoke and wrapped Ling Xiao's body. Then it turned into a black armor. Although the armor's defensive power was not as good as the Divine Phoenix armor, it was still a defensive treasure with 2 dragon patterns. One could imagine how strong its defensive power was. Boom! Despite the bombardment of thunder and the sound of lightning, Ling Xiao was unscathed. The Flying Tiger Knight's eyes shone with greed. He had never seen such a treasure before. He swore that he must get it, just as he was about to launch his 3rd attack. Suddenly he felt a pain in his chest. A dagger was stabbed into his heart, and the curse power was crazily leaking out. At that moment, he felt that he could not use his true origin. Do you think my treasure can only be used for defense? Ling Xiao curled his lips. The cursed demon dagger had a miraculous effect at the crucial moment. The cursed demon dagger. It's actually in Ying's treasure. Oh no. The Flying Tiger Knight was terrified. Of course, Ling Xiao would not give him a chance. The twin tiger divine seal was activated again. The huge seal directly smashed onto the Flying Tiger Knight's body, knocking him out completely. The twin tiger divine seal had 2 uses. One was to release the fierce tiger seal. The other was to smash it directly. The power was not small. Taking advantage of the flying tiger knight's confusion, Ling Xiao took advantage of it. Sky Tyrant remnant blood. A terrifying saber aura that was enough to split space cut through the void and directly cut the flying tiger knight in half. His dantian shattered. He died tragically on the spot. After killing the other party, Ling Xiao let out a long breath. He activated his true origin and completely sucked it dry. This time, the energy in his cultivation did not directly advance, but it increased a little. He was not far from the final breakthrough. I have to break through quickly. This kind of fighting method is too unsafe. Almost every time, I use my full strength. Without a trump card, I'm so nervous. Ling Xiao thought silently and did not dare to stay. He continued forward. The 9 Nether Demon King had only left for a moment, but it felt so far away. It felt like he had entered another small world. End of chapter. Chapter 45:23. Damn it, this kid is too cunning. What is he doing here? Ling Xiao fled quickly after killing the flying tiger knight. The experts of the Jade Flower Divine sect quickly arrived. This time there were 2 flying tiger knights at the 8th level of the core shattering realm. Unfortunately, they failed to catch him. The air was filled with the aura of the flying tiger knight before his death, as well as fear and unwillingness. Another one died. How could this be? Isn't he at the intermediate stage of the extreme core realm? One of them asked. I told you not to underestimate this kid. There's the aura of a treasure in the air. I suspect that kid has a treasure on him. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been so stupid as to leave the Golden Prince. The other person said, let's chase him together. I don't believe that he can be a match for the 2 of us, even if he has a treasure. Let's go. The 2 flying tiger knights followed Ling Xiao's aura and chased after him. At this moment, Ling Xiao had already arrived in front of a dense forest. There was a terrifying aura in the forest. The roars of demonic beasts could be heard from time to time. Ling Xiao hovered in the void and looked at the forest. He discovered that it was actually a huge array formation that covered an area of nearly 10,000 acres. Within this 10,000 mu area, the forest was very dense. It was also extremely tall, which was completely different from the surroundings. What exactly is this place? Ling Xiao frowned and hesitated whether he should enter or not. However, the aura of the 9 underworld Great Demon King was clearly in this forest. Master, can you break this array formation? Ling Xiao asked. Are you looking down on me? However, this array formation is indeed powerful. Even I would need at least a day to break it, the Yuan Master said. All right, that's good. As long as he could break it. Ling Xiao had no need to be afraid. He used the Earth Golden Light technique and continued forward. He disappeared into the dense forest. After walking for about 100 meters, he suddenly saw some huge vines forming 3 huge words, Demon Suppression Forest. This is actually the Demon Suppression Forest. Ling Xiao was a little surprised. There were many ruins in the chaotic sand ocean. The 12 ruins were the most famous among them. However, there were also some places that were not famous. However, they were not inferior to the 12 ancient remnants in the slightest. It was only because people did not dare to enter and explore it that it was not very famous. For example, this demon suppressing forest was one of them. It was rumored that martial artists below the divine body realm would definitely die if they entered this place. However, when divine body realm martial artists entered, they would discover that this was just an ordinary primeval forest. They had never discovered any treasures. Anyone would be afraid of such a strange thing. However, the chaotic desert was filled with desperados. Naturally, they refused to believe such a legend. Many people even deliberately went inside to investigate. However, many went in, but not a single one came out. Gradually, the Demon Suppression Forest became a forbidden area in the chaotic sand ocean. Whenever a cultivator from the 4 regions or 9 worlds came here, the Council of Elders would remind them that they were not allowed to enter. Ling Xiao also received the same notice. Just as he was hesitating whether or not to go in, 2 powerful auras suddenly chased after him. Ling Xiao turned around and saw 2 flying tiger knights. His strength was on par with the 2 people he had killed before, but there were 2 of them. He could deal with 1, but he could forget about 2. However, what made Ling Xiao feel strange was that these 2 flying tiger knights actually stopped 100 meters away from him. Were they afraid of the demon suppression forest? Ling Xiao felt that this was the only possibility. They couldn't be afraid of him. Just as he expected, the 2 flying tiger knights had a headache because of the demon suppression forest. Ling Xiao, this damn guy of all places, you just had to come to the demon suppression forest. Don't you know that the demon suppression forest is a forbidden area? As flying tiger knights who had lived in the chaotic sand ocean for a long time, they knew much more about the demon suppression forest than Ling Xiao. Back then, many of their brothers had died inside. One of the flying tiger knights stood 100 meters away. He looked at Ling Xiao and said, "Why are you doing this? I believe the Golden Sky region's elders have already told you. The demon suppression forest is the forest of death. Once you enter, you'll definitely die. Why are you so stubborn? Come with us to the Jade Flower sect to admit your guilt. Perhaps you can get leniency. Leniency, your sister. Do you really think that I'm afraid of you? Just because you can't do it doesn't mean that I can't. Demon suppression forest. I'm really going to barge in today." Although Ling Xiao was not a match for the 2 flying tiger knights, he could still escape using the vertical golden light technique. However, he still felt sorry for his 9 nether great devil king. Furthermore, he was able to break the array formation of the demon suppression forest. His outcome would definitely be different from others. What was he afraid of? You're really ignorant. Once you enter the demon suppression forest, not even your bones will be left. Come with us, and you'll at least have a small chance of survival. The other flying tiger knight also said, "Well said, but it's a pity that you 2 idiots really think that I'm at my wit's end?" Ling Xiao revealed some disdain. He dared to come out alone because he relied on his powerful, life-saving skills. Even if he couldn't win, he could still escape. Originally, he could immediately turn around and enter the demon suppression forest. However, his cultivation was about to break through, and he couldn't bear to part with the 2 opponents in front of him. Not good. Ling Xiao suddenly felt a sense of danger. He immediately turned around and fled into the demon suppression forest. At this moment, a terrifying aura covered the sky and covered the earth. A terrifying palm wind set off a violent storm. It completely destroyed the forest where Ling Xiao was standing. If Ling Xiao didn't discover it in time, he would have turned into ashes. At the very least, he would have wasted a chance of revival. If he wanted to enter the demon suppression forest, it would be very dangerous. This chance of revival must be kept. Hateful. After Ling Xiao left, a tall figure appeared from afar. This person was wearing a black robe. As he stood in the void, a terrifying aura was naturally released. This caused the 2 flying tiger knights' faces to change. "Greetings, sect leader." So this person was the sect leader of the Jade Flower sect. No wonder he was so angry that he personally came to kill Ling Xiao. Fortunately, Ling Xiao escaped quickly. Otherwise, who knew what would happen? At this moment, the sect leader of the Jade Flower sect's face was very ugly. That attack just now was to heavily injure Ling Xiao on the spot. However, he didn't expect that an extremely hidden attack would be detected by Ling Xiao in advance. Escaped into the demon suppression forest. Standing outside the demon suppression forest, the sect leader of the Jade Flower sect, Yu Huajun, was somewhat at a loss. He only had 3 sons and now 2 were dead. Moreover, the 2 of them were very likely killed by Ling Xiao. Others thought that it was Xiao Jin who did it, but he wasn't an idiot. According to what happened that day and the traces at the scene, he was 100% sure. It was Ling Xiao, this brat, who used some kind of magic treasure to kill his 2 sons. This grudge, even if the heavens were to stop him, he would still take revenge. It was a pity that Ling Xiao had entered the demon suppression forest. He couldn't take revenge personally. The 2 of you lead the Flying Tiger Knights to closely monitor this place. If there's any movement, report it immediately. After Yu Huajun threw down this sentence, he turned and left. Chapter 45-24. Yu Huajun did not dare enter the demon suppression forest rashly. Furthermore, he had other things to do. He did not think that Ling Xiao would be able to come out of the demon suppression forest alive. However, he was cautious and still decided to send someone to guard this place. What if a miracle happened? To be honest, he hoped that Ling Xiao would be able to survive. That way, he could personally avenge his son. He also wanted to know what kind of treasure Ling Xiao had on him that could actually kill his son, Yu Hua Sky Demon. Meanwhile, Ling Xiao had already stepped into the dense forest. Everything around him had become very quiet, as if it was a ghost town. He entered the shadow warrior form and continued in the direction of the 9 underworld great demon king's aura. Although he did not know who had unleashed that palm strike, it was definitely an extremely powerful enemy. He reckoned that he would not be able to get out in the near future. In that case, he might as well take things as they came. Roar! A terrifying roar was heard from the dense forest. Ling Xiao suddenly stopped in his tracks. He had actually been discovered while he was in the shadow warrior form. A group of foxes had surrounded him. This group of foxes had red demonic eyes and looked extremely strange. He simply had nowhere to hide from their demonic eyes. The foxes stared at Ling Xiao with their blood-red eyes, clearly showing mockery and disdain. Damn it! How dare a group of evil beasts look down on me? Ling Xiao channeled his true origin. However, he suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood the moment he channeled his true origin. F***CK. I understand why all the martialists who entered this place died. I can't channel my true origin in this damned place. I can't even absorb the spirit energy of heaven and earth. This must be the doing of the array formation outside. Ling Xiao thought of this, but did not panic. Even without his true origin, he still had his spirit power and physical body. This place, to him, was not a place that would cause him to despair. Master, please find a way to break this array formation, but don't break it yet. Ling Xiao said, Yes, Master. Although a Yuan Venerate was only a spirit body now and could not fight, it was not a problem for him to do such a small thing. So, seeing Ling Xiao vomit blood, a fox beast suddenly scurried over. His speed was extremely fast. Under the dim light, the sharp claws flashed with a strange sharpness. You're still too inexperienced to play with my physical body. In the blink of an eye, he transformed into the ultimate heavenly rat. He did not circulate his true essence, only using the strength of his physical body to resist. The sharp claws pierced into the fox's body. However, the fox beast's claws were unable to tear his body apart. Ling Xiao smiled. It was basically impossible for martial artists below the divine body realm to have such a strong physical body like his. His god-fiend, black, tortoise body was already terrifying enough. Coupled with his beast soul transformation, how could the fox beast be his match? Beast form. Ling Xiao directly transformed into a huge, limitless heavenly rat. With a height of 7 to 8 meters, its terrifying claws slammed into the fox beasts. Several of them were killed in an instant. The fox beasts were so scared that they went into hiding. Facing Ling Xiao, he actually knelt down and kowtowed continuously. It was as if they were kowtowing to their god. Ling Xiao was a little confused. Could it be because of the beast god's aura? After thinking about it, he could not figure it out anyway. Since the other party was no longer attacking, he might as well continue forward. This time, he directly retained the limitless heavenly rat's beast form. Flapping its huge wings, he flew above the dense forest. The primeval beast gods divine might seem to be very useful in this dense forest. Many terrifying beasts saw him coming and either avoided him or directly knelt down to worship him. Ling Xiao heaved a sigh of relief. He now truly understood how terrifying this demon suppression forest was. If it were someone else, they would not be able to survive, even if their physical body was strong, even if they had a secret soul technique. However, without the powerful primeval beast god position, they would be exhausted to death even if they were tired. Just as Ling Xiao felt that the 9 underworld's giant demon king's aura was getting closer and closer, a black wind suddenly attacked. The entire sky was covered by them. Ling Xiao looked at it in surprise. It was actually a swarm of locusts. However, they were just black locusts. Each of the locusts was wrapped in a black aura. They were so densely packed that the surrounding beasts seemed to be fleeing in a sorry state. What the hell is this? Even the aura of the primeval beast god position is useless? Ling Xiao was very shocked. However, shock was shock, not to the point of fear. Ling Xiao instantly entered the hell Undying Bird Beast Soul transformation. Activate the Undying Bird Fire. Deviant fire enveloped his entire body. A huge hell Undying Bird appeared in midair. At this moment, the locusts had already attacked. Like moths to a flame, they crashed into the deviant fire and were burned to ashes. However, the ones behind them actually rushed over one after another, as if they did not know fear at all. Burn, burn! Ling Xiao laughed wildly. The crazy deviant fire burned the locusts to death and released black smoke, which was actually absorbed by his body. The energy in his cultivation, had finally risen to 100%. This was even more satisfying than fighting those warriors of the Yu Hua divine sect. However, thinking about it carefully, in this world, there were very few people who had deviant fire. Entering this damned place was really full of danger. He could guard against one kind of danger, but not the second. Fortunately, he had enough trump cards. Otherwise, he was afraid that today would be troublesome. There were too many locusts in the sky, and he could not burn them all. Therefore, Ling Xiao simply burned them as he advanced. In any case, his Tai Chi eye had already seen the place where the 9 underworld demon king was. However, the closer he got to that place, the more he felt a terrifying pressure. His mind was filled with crazy thoughts. His ears were filled with the screams of ghosts and monsters. It was simply driving him crazy. Boom! At a certain point, Ling Xiao released the Sky Tyrant Martial Soul. Anyway, there was no one here, and he was not afraid of being seen by others. A pitch-black universe appeared behind him, and a terrifying aura was released. That terrifying pressure suddenly disappeared. As expected, the Sky Tyrant Martial Soul is the most powerful. Ling Xiao sighed. As he continued forward, the locusts had already scattered. This was not a place they could set foot in. On the ground, there are countless corpses, most of which were human. Most of them were quite old and had turned into eerie white bones. In order to explore the secret of this demon-suppressing forest, they left their lives here. Ling Xiao had some respect for them, although they might have come with greed if it were not for these people who stepped forward to open up the territory of the human race. Today's humans would not be so lucky. He did not put away the Sky Tyrant Martial Soul, because that pressure was too terrifying. Other than the Sky Tyrant Martial Soul, he could not withstand it at all. He did not want to die yet. Perhaps he would become the first human to successfully explore this demon-suppressing forest. He would know the true secret of this demon-suppressing forest. What did this place have to do with the eternal desert? What kind of thing existed that could actually make the 9 underworld demon king leave him? There were too many questions. Curiosity drove Ling Xiao to continue forward. It was hard to imagine what the world would become if humans lost their curiosity. Chapter 45:25. Finally, after going through difficulties and obstacles, Ling Xiao arrived near the cave. The 9 nether demon king sat there in a daze, as if he had been petrified. The terrifying and deep cave released a terrifying dim light. It was as if it was going to swallow heaven and earth. The source of everything in the demon suppression forest should be this cave. What exactly is inside? Ling Xiao felt that his gaze was about to be sucked in by a pitch-black vortex. He lifted his foot and walked towards the black vortex. This is a seal. Ling Xiao walked in and realized that this was not an entrance at all, but a terrifying seal. This seal was even more brilliant than the huge array outside. There is actually someone who can come here alive. It is indeed a good fortune. Suddenly, a voice sounded abruptly, giving Ling Xiao a fright. He had always thought that there was no living person in this place, but after a moment he calmed down. This voice was solemn and did not sound like something evil. But who was it? He turned his head and looked around, but he did not find anyone. In the end, his gaze landed on the seal of the cave. Could it be the people inside? Which expert is speaking? Why don't you show yourself? Ling Xiao looked at the seal and said in a clear voice. At the same time, he retreated about 50 meters, on guard against any sudden changes. Expert? I am just a poor person who is sealed. Leave quickly. This place is dangerous. Be careful that you are also suppressed here by that demon. The voice sounded again. Ling Xiao was sure this time that the voice came from the cave. There was no mistake. This voice was humble and gentle, but also solemn and solemn. It made people feel very comfortable listening to it. However, it seemed to have some resentment towards the demon suppression forest. Senior, why don't you show yourself? Maybe I can help you. Ling Xiao's eyes flickered with light. No one knew what he was thinking. Buzz! A strange sound came out. The next moment, a figure flew out of the cave. The figure was dressed in white, and his hair and beard were all white. However, he looked very young. He was like a celestial being. This is a soul projection. The Taiji, I could tell at a glance that this was not a real person. Why was the demon suppression forest suppressing such a celestial being? Ling Xiao really couldn't see any demonic traits in this person. It was easier to believe that he was an immortal. He had the demeanor of a transcendent being and the potential of a saint. Just looking at him made people want to kneel down and worship him. However, the seal was even more terrifying. Even though it was just a soul projection, it still triggered a reaction from the seal. A terrifying pressure was released, and Ling Xiao felt as if he was about to be crushed. Fortunately, the Sky Tyrant martial spirit had once again displayed its miraculous effect. It actually absorbed the power of the seal. That person seemed a little surprised. Little friend, you seem to have had some fortuitous encounters. In that case, you shouldn't waste your life here. This devil-suppressing forest was filled with danger. Even if they can enter, they might not be able to leave. That person sighed. Thank you for your concern, Senior. However, there's something that I don't understand. This place was called Demon Suppression Forest, but Senior doesn't seem to be of the demonic Tao. Junior has also seen heavenly demons and is deeply familiar with the aura of the demonic Tao. Senior's immortal aura is admirable. Why are you trapped here? Ling Xiao asked. How can the matters of the world be simply explained in black and white? History is written by the victors. If he says, I'm a demon, then I'm a demon. Even if I'm not, I am. If he says he's an immortal, then he's an immortal. Who dares not to believe it? That person laughed bitterly, as if he had already seen through everything in the world. Ling Xiao listened to the other party's words and felt that it made sense. Furthermore, these words were especially suitable for his temperament. He had also been called a demon before. He was also considered God, but he was only a human in the end, a person who acted according to his heart. Junior might be able to help you escape from the cage, Ling Xiao said. That person shook his head and said no need. Rather than entering the dirty world, it's better to just stay here and be free. It's also an interesting thing to be with demonic beasts every day. It's just that these few years I've seen too many people die because of the seal, because of this formation. This old man really can't bear it. These people's souls can't reincarnate after they die, and can only become lonely souls here. If you have the heart, then help them expiate the souls of the dead. Senior is really an immortal. It's really rare to see such a kind heart. It would be a pity for you to waste your cultivation here. This junior just so happens to have learned some techniques to break the formation. Why don't Senior tell this junior how to break the seal? This junior can give it a try. Ling Xiao said sincerely. He rarely admired people, but it was really a pity that such an expert was sealed here. Since you have the heart, then this old man will tell you. If you can do it, then do it. If you can't, then don't force yourself. This old man has already done this, and I don't want you to be hurt because of this matter. That person still had an indifferent attitude, as if he had already seen through this matter and was not in a hurry to leave. The person who left this seal once obtained the soul of a divine beast. Therefore, this seal is bound by the laws of space. Perhaps you've cultivated a divine ability like the void shattering finger, and then use your understanding of formations to find the gate of life and break it. I see. Senior, wait a moment. Ling Xiao opened his Tai Chi eye and searched for the gate of life of the seal. A moment later, he revealed a smile. This smile was a little strange. The next moment, he stretched out his finger. The power of space condensed on his finger, releasing a powerful force. The seal seemed to have sensed the appearance of its nemesis and suddenly became nervous. It crazily released a huge pressure. However, in the face of the tyrant martial spirit, it was helpless. Ling Xiao stood there like a real god. It could split heaven and earth apart. It exuded an incomparably solemn aura. It also exuded a domineering aura of supremacy. Even the man in white frowned slightly. He seemed to be a little uncomfortable. In front of the void-shattering finger, a strange black hole was spinning crazily, directly shattering the surrounding space. This power made the surrounding demonic beasts tremble in fear, not daring to approach. Boom! The void-shattering finger was finally released. A finger pointed at the black seal. A huge explosion sounded. The seal shattered. At that moment, the man in white's expression was no longer so calm and solemn. There was a hint of madness and excitement. Ha ha ha! Finally, this old man can finally leave this damned place. After being sealed for 10,000 years, it's really lonely. I didn't expect the heavens to be so kind to me, actually sending a person with a divine beast soul. I'm too lucky. Kid, on account of you saving me, this old man will give you a quick death. A wild laughter sounded, and the immortal turned into a devil. The solemn expression turned into a terrifying, ferocious expression. A white light rose and turned into a black devil chi. The next moment, a black chi rushed out of the cave. However, the moment it passed through the seal, it stopped abruptly. Why aren't you laughing? Ling Xiao revealed a mocking expression. Old thing, you found the wrong person to fool. I'm not that kind. Chapter 45:26. You saw through it long ago? The white-robed man was shocked. That's right. Watching you put on a sanctimonious act, I felt that it was very interesting. Ling Xiao smiled and said, Actually, from the beginning I saw through it, but I wasn't too sure. I was afraid of wronging a good person. So I set up the seal and waited for you to enter. I didn't expect you to reveal your true colors. Ling Xiao's Tai Chi eye could see through people's hearts. In addition, when Ling Xiao proposed to let him go, he actually had a strong emotional fluctuation for a moment. Logically speaking, for a person who had seen through the world and was indifferent to it, he shouldn't be like this. Of course, these weren't enough to be sure. So, Ling Xiao set up an ultimate test. It seemed to break the seal, but in fact it was only changing the seal. Instead, it became stronger. Good boy, I didn't expect you to be so cunning. Forget it. Since you've seen through it, this old man has nothing to say. Let this old man out, and this old man can spare your life. Even if he was trapped, the old man still maintained his arrogance and domineering, as expected of a demon. Even at this time, he was still high and mighty. Ling Xiao smiled and said, "You think too highly of yourself. What can you do now? If you beg me, maybe I can spare your life. Otherwise, I'll chop you up." Arrogant, the white-robed man roared. Suddenly, a terrifying soul force flew out from his body. It actually formed a human figure. It entered Ling Xiao's body. Ling Xiao didn't have the chance to block or dodge. This old man was too strong. The white figure entered Ling Xiao's body and pounced on Ling Xiao's soul. Obviously, he wanted to use the ultimate method to take over Ling Xiao's body. He couldn't wait any longer. After waiting for so many years, he was about to go crazy. Even if he had to give up his body, he wanted to go out. "You want to take over my body? Hee, this is the most idiotic method," Ling Xiao sneered. At this moment, in the soul realm, the peerless heavenly rat, blood lightning bull demon, cosmic tiger, nether ghost rabbit, frost divine dragon, nine-headed demon king snake, Vajra ape, infernal phoenix, black hell marrow destroying hound, and canopied beast appeared. 10 types of beast souls. The martial soul was a combination of the soul and the physical body. The stronger one's martial soul was, the stronger one's soul would be. When the white shadow saw the 10 terrifying beast souls, he was stunned. The white shadow was inexplicably terrified. He turned around and was about to flee. In the end, it was torn to shreds by the 10 beast souls and turned into abundant soul force that merged with Ling Xiao's soul realm. The white-robed man's face instantly turned pale, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. He hadn't expected this kid's soul power to be so strong, and his martial soul to be so overbearing. "You brat, you've actually grasped 10 primordial divine thrones. There are only a total of 12 primordial divine positions, and you have already grasped 10 of them. Who the hell are you?" The man in white exclaimed, "It doesn't matter who I am. What matters is that you actually plotted against me. How are you going to repay me?" Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a cold, killing intent. "So what if you're a demon? Being trapped here is just a useless thing in the end. Is that so?" The white-robed man's face was cold. "You actually dared to seize 10% of my soul. Today, I will definitely kill you." 9 Nether Giant Demon King. Hearing this, Ling Xiao was shocked and hastily retreated to the side. The 9 Nether Giant Demon King, who was originally sitting cross-legged, opened his eyes and bared his fangs and claws as he charged towards Ling Xiao. Sure enough, the reason the 9 Nether Giant Demon King left me was because of you. Seeing the 9 Nether Giant Demon King attacking him, Ling Xiao didn't panic, although the 9 Nether Giant Demon King left because of this old thing. His soul imprint was still in his body. It wasn't broken. He might not be able to control it now, but it was still impossible for him to kill him. So what if it's this old man? Now you can obediently die. The white-robed man sneered. Although it was only his head, it was still flickering with strange black runes. He was controlling the 9 Nether Giant Demon King. "Die. You have so much confidence in yourself?" Ling Xiao sneered and urged his soul force. The 9 Nether Giant Demon King immediately stayed in place, motionless. "Trash!" The white-robed man roared angrily. He really miscalculated. He didn't expect this kid to be so difficult to deal with. "Hee, old man, you're at your wit's end, right?" Ling Xiao laughed and looked at the white-robed man. "This seal can only be broken by me. If you beg me, I might consider it, but you have to tell me the method to control the 9 Nether Giant Demon King first." "Forget it. In fact, there's no method. I'm originally an extraterrestrial demon, so I have the ability to command all the demons in the world. As long as it's within 100 miles, all the demons have to listen to my command." The white-robed man said helplessly, "I don't believe it. You've already been sealed. You can't tame them with just orders." Ling Xiao turned around and was about to leave. He knew that he couldn't kill this demon. The only way to threaten it was to leave. If the other party wanted to come out, all hope was on him. What a cunning kid. It's not that I'm cunning. It's just that my eyes can see through lies. If you lie to me, you'll be seen through. Ling Xiao said indifferently. Do you see that huge black stone at the entrance of the cave? That's called the Demon Suppression Stone. Originally, it was used to suppress me together with this seal. In these tens of thousands of years, I've already controlled part of the Demon Suppression Stone. The Devil Suppression Stone could command all the demons within a radius of 100 miles. Of course, it depends on the strength of the user. As for you, you can't. At most, you can command demons within 100 meters. The white-robed man laughed. I see. Ling Xiao smiled and remembered this. Although he didn't know what level of treasure the Demon Suppression Stone was, it must be very heaven-defying. Although he might not be able to fully unleash the power of the Demon Suppression Stone now, it might not be the case in the future. Kid, you and I are fated. If you're willing to help me escape, I'll definitely give you a great opportunity. The white-robed man laughed. Still trying to trick me? Ling Xiao laughed and said, You know it's useless. It's not a trick. It's a fair deal, the white-robed man said. Deal? What deal? Ling Xiao asked. I see that you have the power of a demon god in your body. You should have a basic understanding of the Lotus Scroll. If you can help me escape, I'll teach you the true meaning of the Lotus Scroll. How about it? The white-robed man laughed. He felt that Ling Xiao would definitely not be able to resist this temptation. What the hell is the Lotus Scroll? A saint-level cultivation technique? Ling Xiao asked doubtfully. Ha 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 ha. The white-robed man laughed wildly. Saint-level cultivation technique? Forget it. Just treat it as a saint-level cultivation technique. How about it? Do you want it? Disciple, the method to break the array has been found. What happened? At that moment, the Yuan Venerate returned. Ling Xiao heaved a sigh of relief. To be honest, although he was a genius, there were still too many things he didn't know. For example, he had never heard of the Lotus Scroll. Since he had never heard of it, it was difficult for his Taiji eye to determine its authenticity. End of chapter. Chapter 45:27. Master, what is the Lotus Scroll? Ling Xiao asked hastily when he saw the Yuan Venerate return. The Lotus Scroll? I have only heard of the Lotus Sutra. The Lotus Sutra is divided into 3 parts, namely the White Lotus Scroll, the Black Lotus Scroll, and the Golden Lotus Scroll. The Yuan Venerate said. Ling Xiao smirked. This demon was actually trying to play tricks again. Thus, he repeated what the Yuan Venerate had said. Sure enough, the man in white was shocked. He then sighed. I didn't expect you to know all this at such a young age. Forget it. I originally wanted to use one of the scrolls to deceive you. I didn't expect you to see through it. All right, if you save me, I will bestow you with the 3 scrolls of the Lotus Sutra. Successfully cultivate all 3 scrolls of the Lotus Sutra. You can cultivate 3 lotus bodies. As long as one doesn't die, you won't perish. Lotus Deity, Lotus Demon Venerate, Lotus Emperor Venerate. Who exactly are you? Why do you have such a miraculous item like the Lotus Sutra? Ling Xiao had already heard about it from the Yuan Venerate when he was conversing with the demon. The Lotus Sutra was a cultivation technique of the eternal desert. It was more mystical than any cultivation technique in the 4 regions and 9 realms. Anyone who could possess such a thing was definitely not an ordinary person. Who am I? Ha ha ha! I am the famous lotus flower. Ling Xiao scratched his head. *CK. Looking at this guy, he seemed to be really awesome. However, he had never heard of him before. My apologies, Great Emperor Lianhua. This junior has never heard of you. Please forgive me. Ling Xiao was a little embarrassed. It wasn't that the other party wasn't powerful, but that he was ignorant. Then how do you know about the Lotus Sutra? I heard an expert mention it before. Ling Xiao chuckled. This deal sounds good. But Lotus Flower, if I let you go, you won't teach me anything. Not only are you not willing to teach me your cultivation technique, you're even going to kill me. How wronged would I be? You are very smart. Emperor Lianhua said, but it's also very stupid. What kind of status do you have? You are my savior. Even if I don't repay you, I won't kill you. There's no use in saying so much bullshit. Yours truly doesn't believe you. You're full of evil intentions. Ling Xiao said disdainfully, just teach me the Lotus Sutra and I'll naturally let you go. I'm not someone who goes back on his words and is full of lies like you. I mean what I say. What if I teach you the Lotus Sutra and you run away? Who should I find to reason with? Lotus Flower was a little angry. I don't care. Think of a way yourself. If it doesn't work, then forget it. Ling Xiao smiled. He could choose not to cultivate the Lotus Sutra, but the other party had to escape. Therefore, he had the upper hand in this competition. What a little fox! The Lotus Flower was silent for a long time before he suddenly said, Fine, I'll impart you the Lotus Sutra. You finally figured it out? Ling Xiao smiled. Sigh, it's my fault for being in such a situation. I can only pray that you're not someone who goes back on his words. The Lotus Flower sighed. Stop acting pitiful. Ling Xiao didn't believe any of the old man's words. This old man was simply a natural actor. Hee hee. The Lotus Flower smiled awkwardly and said, Let's not talk nonsense. I'm going to impart the sutra now. It's too much of a waste of time to tell you word by word. I'm afraid I won't be able to finish it even after 10 days and nights. Moreover, you won't be able to remember it. Therefore, I'm going to imprint the Lotus Sutra into your soul realm and make it a part of your memory. That's exactly what I want. Ling Xiao sneered, but you better learn to be obedient. Otherwise, you'll lose another part of your soul. That would be pitiful. Humph. The Lotus Flower hated Ling Xiao to death. However, he couldn't do anything to Ling Xiao now. Can we begin? The Lotus Flower said. Ling Xiao was about to agree when the Yuan Venerate suddenly said, Good disciple, he has a favor to ask of you now. There's no harm in asking for more. That's right. Ling Xiao smiled. He knew that great Emperor Lianhua would definitely kill him if he managed to break free from his confinement. In that case, it wouldn't matter even if he went overboard. At the thought of this, he said, The Lotus Sutra is too brilliant after all. I have to try it out with something else first. The Lotus Flower came from the eternal desert, so he must know an extremely brilliant movement technique and soul mystic technique. Why don't you impart it to me? I don't ask for much. I just want a sacred soul mystic technique and a sacred movement technique. He might not be able to use something that was too good, but he would definitely be able to use a sacred cultivation technique after advancing to the core fragmentation realm. You're really greedy, kid. The Lotus Flower had a sinister look in his eyes. Cut the crap. Are you going to give it to me or not? Ling Xiao sneered. I'll give it to you, the Lotus Flower said hatefully. Sacred soul mystic technique. Black Lotus treasured light. This mystic technique can be used for both defense and offense. It will definitely integrate with the power of demons and become even more terrifying. I'll learn it. Sacred movement technique. Holy ground demonic shadow. Not only is this movement technique fast, but it's also unpredictable. When cultivated to the highest level, one can even traverse a small realm. I'll learn it. Ling Xiao agreed with a smile after consulting the Yuan Venerate. Based on what the Yuan Venerate had said, the Holy Ground, Demonic Shadow, and Black Lotus Treasured Light were considered top-notch even among sacred cultivation techniques. Of course, he had to learn it. Ready. The Lotus Flower released his spirit consciousness and transmitted the two cultivation techniques into Ling Xiao's spirit realm. No problem. This time, the Lotus Flower didn't play any tricks. He probably didn't want to offend Ling Xiao. It would have taken a few days to transmit the cultivation techniques, but it only took a few minutes to imprint them into his spirit realm. Although the Black Lotus Treasured Light only had one move, it could be used flexibly. It was indeed an ingenious combination of offense and defense. The Holy Ground Demonic Shadows technique was more complicated. It seemed like a simple movement technique, but it could transform into thousands of different footsteps. Every step he took was filled with mysteries. It probably wouldn't be easy to cultivate it to the transformative boundary. Next, I have to improve my cultivation as soon as possible. Ling Xiao was excited. Now that his cultivation hadn't reached the core-shattering realm, he couldn't practice sacred class martial arts. "How is it? I didn't lie to you, right?" The lotus flower said. "Since you've kept your promise, I'll definitely let you out after I learn the Lotus Sutra." Ling Xiao couldn't be bothered to know why this person was sealed there. It was difficult to distinguish between good and evil in this world. Many evildoers got away with the law, so it didn't make much of a difference. "Then I'll thank you in advance. I'll now impart the complete Lotus Sutra to you. Remember, the white lotus scroll cultivates the power of God. The black lotus scroll cultivates the power of demon. The golden lotus scroll cultivates the power of the emperor of the human realm. The Lotus Sutra is formed when the three are combined. If you can cultivate it successfully, you'll be the second lotus flower. No need to say so much nonsense. Just impart the technique. Since I've already agreed to your deal, I won't go back on my words. But you'd better remember, don't let me down. Otherwise, even if you're the lotus flower, I'll kill you." This was Ling Xiao's final warning. Everyone read M. Chapter 45:28. Lotus Flower's eyes flashed coldly. If he didn't need this ant's help, he wouldn't have been so humble. "I'll definitely kill you when I get out of here." Then he cleared his mind of distracting thoughts and started to engrave the Lotus Sutra into Ling Xiao's spirit realm. Of course, Ling Xiao wasn't completely defenseless. This old fellow was extremely sinister and had to be on guard. Fortunately, he had a Yuan venerate around. If this old fellow wanted to rebel in his spirit realm, he naturally had a way to deal with it. The Lotus Sutra was much more brilliant than the Black Lotus Treasure Light and the Holy Ground Demonic Shadow. The contents were also more complicated. The transfer of memories took more than an hour. If it had been anyone else, they would have been in unbearable pain after having their spirit realm modified in this way. However, Ling Xiao was someone who had cultivated a remnant primordial spirit. So how could he be afraid of this? The memories flooded in like a flood. However, Ling Xiao's spirit realm was so huge that this flood was no different from a small stream. Even Great Emperor Lianhua was shocked. An hour later, Lotus Flower's spiritual consciousness withdrew from Ling Xiao's spirit realm. Ling Xiao silently checked the contents of his spirit realm. This demon was actually so cooperative. He really wasn't playing with him. He only needed to read the contents of the Lotus Sutra once. Thus, Ling Xiao developed a heroic spirit of swallowing the world. The eternal desert seemed to have unveiled a little bit of its mysterious veil. The terrifying lotus flower was an absolutely invincible existence, even in the eternal desert. The feeling of looking down on all living things was completely integrated into Ling Xiao's aura. Ling Xiao believed that he could reach such heights as long as he cultivated the third volume of the Lotus Sutra. He couldn't help but start cultivating the Black Lotus volume. Given Ling Xiao's character, he still preferred the contents of the Black Lotus volume. Therefore, he would start with this volume first. Under the guidance of a Yuan venerate, the Lotus Sutra of an unknown grade, the Black Lotus volume, started to operate. Once cultivated, it could operate on its own without any control. It only needed to be adjusted slightly. Originally, the God-fiend power in Ling Xiao's body was basically equal. However, the God-fiend power clearly had the upper hand now. It kept moving around in Ling Xiao's body and strengthened Ling Xiao's physical body. Ling Xiao's God-fiend black tortoise body, which mainly used the God-fiend power, became pitch black and sinister. It was as if a demon's rebirth. Soaring devil qi was constantly released from Ling Xiao's body. The demonic God-fiend power. Emperor Lianhua sneered. "I knew you wouldn't be able to resist the urge to cultivate. Regardless of whether you help me or not, this old man will be able to escape with your help today. Ling Xiao, who was cultivating, did not know that a huge vortex had formed with him as the center. The whirlpool sucked in the terrifying devil chi from the devil-suppressing forest, and those demonic beasts let out mournful cries. Teet. Looking at the huge demonic chi vortex, Lotus Flower smiled in surprise. Using this person's body as a guide, using the demonic chi as the key, using the sun god's ability as the key. Break all seals in the world. Even if it's heaven and earth, I will poke a hole in it. Lotus Flower was still chanting. Although he was trapped by the seal, he could actually use Ling Xiao's body to attack the terrifying seal. Open. The last word was spoken. The terrifying demonic chi turned into a huge demonic sword. The demonic sword actually contained the intent of the void-shattering finger. It pointed at the cave. Heaven and earth changed color. Crack! The demonic sword chopped down, and the cave was split into two. Ha 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 ha! Ha ha ha! Emperor Lianhua threw his head back and laughed maniacally. His laughter was like thunder, causing the surroundings to explode. The rumbling sounds continued. The demonic chi caused the entire demon suppression forest to become black. Ling Xiao was also awakened by this scene. When he opened his eyes, he frowned slightly. Lotus Flower, you're really impatient. Since I've already promised to let you out, I won't go back on my word. You actually escaped by yourself? In fact, he was very shocked. This demon was indeed not an ordinary person. In the end, he still used him to escape. Of course, he didn't lose out. He had obtained the 3 ultimate techniques of the demon, especially the Lotus Sutra. It was also a peerless technique, at least in the 4 regions and 9 worlds. No martial arts could compare to it. You actually didn't escape? Lotus Flower looked at Ling Xiao and mocked. Kid, you're just an ant. I was too lazy to kill you, but you went too far. You actually dared to tease me. If I don't kill you today, I won't be able to get rid of my inner demons. He wanted to see Ling Xiao beg for mercy and fear. However, he was disappointed. Ling Xiao stood there calmly and indifferently. You're really pitiful. You've never truly trusted others in your life. Hee hee. Actually, you don't have to be like this. Ling Xiao smiled and said, You're delusional to see me in fear, but unfortunately you won't be able to see it. Kid, are you really not afraid of death? Lotus Flower escaped and released a shocking demonic aura. Black clouds rolled in the sky. Heaven and earth were shaking. Violent winds blew in the demon suppression forest, and countless monsters were crying out. Countless living beings were trembling in fear. Crack! Huge trees broke because of this. Boom! The ground cracked open, and magma erupted from the ground. It was a scene of doomsday. Outside the demon suppression forest, the members of the Flying Tiger Knight troop were terrified. The sun was originally shining brightly, but now it was as dark as ink. They were originally here to carry out Yu Huajun's orders out of boredom. They thought that Ling Xiao was definitely going to die. But who would have thought that such a terrifying change would happen after a day? That terrifying aura caused the flying tigers under them to lie on the ground and tremble in fear. Their hearts seemed to be pinched by some terrifying force. They had never felt that kind of fear before. Even the sect master of Yu, Hua Divine, sect could not make them feel so terrified. It was too terrifying. What exactly happened in the demon suppression forest? Rumor had it that a peerless demon was suppressed in the demon suppression forest. This demon came from the eternal desert and was suppressed by the strong people there. His strength surpassed anyone in the 4 regions and 9 worlds. This rumor was not groundless, because someone had once found a few words in the chaotic desert, and it mentioned some content. Although they did not believe it, the general meaning was never enter the demon suppression forest. Originally, many people did not believe it. Otherwise, why would the divine body realm martial artists not discover anything after entering? But today, the Flying Tiger Knights felt a terrifying demonic aura that they had never felt before. That demonic aura was the most terrifying demonic aura they had ever felt. It was as if even heaven and earth could not withstand this power. They all squatted on the ground, unable to stand up. Could it be that the demon was released by someone? Thinking of this possibility, they were incomparably terrified. Rumble! Black clouds rolled, lightning flashed, and thunder rumbled. They could vaguely see a huge figure in the sky. This figure was incomparably huge, as if it wanted to cover the entire sky. The source of all this madness should have come from that figure. End of chapter. Chapter 45:29. Ha ha ha, you see, this is the divine power of I, Lotus Flower. And you dare say you're not afraid. 10,000 years of torture didn't make me lose my strength. Instead, it made me even stronger. That figure seems to be talking to someone, but his voice is like thunder spreading over 10,000 miles. Everyone in the chaotic sand sea heard it loud and clear. Lotus Flower? Who is that? Who is he talking to? This terrifying aura. Could it be that he's the one who's releasing it? Countless people are inexplicably frightened. The experts of the Council of Elders and Beast Deity Alliance are floating in the air, looking at the demon suppression forest in the distance with inexplicable fear. Even their breathing has become hurried. Although they don't know who Lotus Flower is, but they're sure that someone incredible has been released, sealed for 10,000 years. Just how terrifying is that? Some people try to approach the demon suppression forest, but before they even get close, they're suppressed by the boundless demonic aura to the point that even their true essence can't flow smoothly. That demonic figure looks down at the ground, as if he's talking to someone. Of course, they don't know that a tiny Ling Xiao is standing in front of Lotus Flower. Your strength does scare me, but so what if I'm scared? I'm still not afraid of you. Ling Xiao knows what the other party wants to see, but is he someone who gives in so easily? Not to mention, he knows that he won't die. Ha ha ha, brat. Although you're very brave, you still can't escape death today. Someone like you, although you're an ant now, you'll definitely grow into a terrifying opponent in the future. Not killing you is out of the question. Lotus Flower laughs wildly, then sends out a palm strike. Ling Xiao doesn't try to block it. Blocking is useless. In a flash, he's turned to ashes. An ant will always be an ant. Humph. Lotus Flower glances at that direction, then jumps up into the sky, disappearing into the boundless black clouds. The endless storm also seems to leave with him. The demon suppression forest finally calms down, but demonic aura still surrounds this place, showing the traces of its former existence. In front of the cavern that was in a mess, a ball of flame suddenly ignited. Like an undying bird from Hell Reborn, the flame gradually took the shape of a human. Ling Xiao looked coldly in the direction where Lotus Flower had left. Like I said, it's best if you don't offend me. Today, your palm strike will be exchanged for your future death. The devil-suppressing stone near the cave abode had already been smashed into pieces. However, each stone still seemed to contain powerful divine power. Ling Xiao kept all the fragments into his tyrant martial spirit. The power of the tyrannical martial spirit repaired it. However, this restoration process would take quite some time. The 9 underworld's great demon king was taken away by that demon. Ling Xiao's soul imprint had also been erased, and he had completely lost contact with it. To be honest, it was impossible not to feel pity. However, after losing the 9 underworld's giant demon king, he had obtained something even better. Misfortune may be a blessing in disguise. The seal of the cave had been removed, and Ling Xiao stepped inside. It was actually in the deepest part of the cave. He discovered a lotus flower that was as black as ink. Within the black lotus, there was a crazy resentment and demonic aura. It seemed that when the lotus flower was sealed, the demon venerable's body occupied the main position. As a result, this black lotus was born. When a martial artist cultivated, they could condense an inner core. Even a demonic beast could condense a demonic beast crystal core. For a terrifying existence like the lotus flower, cultivating here, naturally he could condense a supreme treasure for cultivating the demonic path. Black lotus. 10,000 years. This was something born from 10,000 years of resentment and cultivation, intent fusing with the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. He must have left in a hurry and actually forgot to take this thing away. It's mine. Ling Xiao waved his hand, and the black lotus and its roots were transplanted into the mountain river world. Actually, he guessed wrong. This black lotus originally did not exist. It only grew after the seal was removed. Otherwise, how could the lotus flower leave it behind? Ling Xiao plucked a petal of the black lotus and put it into his mouth. In that instant, a terrifying power surged crazily in his body. His physical body, which was already at the peak of the 10th Order Emperor realm, actually improved again. In an instant, it had advanced to the level of an Emperor weapon with 4 dragon patterns. What kind of concept was this? In other words, Ling Xiao could achieve the defensive effect of the divine phoenix armor with just the strength of his physical body. Unless a martial artist below the half-step divine physique realm had an equivalent treasure that could not hurt him at all. This caused his combat power to increase greatly. That was not all. His cultivation had finally broken through the shackles. After a rebirth in fire, coupled with the tempering of a petal of the black lotus, he had finally stepped into the late stage of the extreme core realm. Thank you, lotus flower. No matter where you go, I will remember this grudge. Ling Xiao looked at the exit of the demon-suppressing forest. There, the Yuhua Divine Sect's flying dragon knights were still guarding. It's a good opportunity to test my current strength. Ling Xiao smiled and directly rushed out. Along the way, the demonic beasts that saw him did not dare to attack, because he had the aura of the lotus flower on his body. Soon, Ling Xiao arrived at the exit of the demon-suppressing forest. He took a step out. Everyone in the flying tiger knights was dumbfounded. Such a strange thing happened in the demon-suppressing forest, but Ling Xiao could still come out alive. Yo, everyone has worked hard. Ling Xiao playfully greeted those dumbfounded flying tiger knights. He had no intention of escaping at all. You didn't die? How lucky! One of the leaders of the Flying Tiger Knights was one of the 2 8th-stage core-shattering realm martial artists who saw Ling Xiao enter the demon-suppressing forest. He sneered and walked toward Ling Xiao. In his opinion, the reason why Ling Xiao could come out alive was probably because of the change in the demon-suppressing forest this time. I'm indeed lucky, but you may not be so lucky. Ling Xiao was no longer the same as before. Not only did his cultivation break through, his physical body had also improved greatly, especially the Lotus Sutra Black Lotus Scroll. The devil power was even more terrifying. Even if he didn't use magic treasure, he could still kill an 8th-stage core-shattering realm expert. Go to hell! The 8th-stage core-shattering realm martial artist pounced on Ling Xiao. The long spear in his hand pierced through the void. It actually formed a terrifying vortex, as if it was going to suck Ling Xiao in. Ling Xiao didn't move, allowing him to attack at will. The long spear pierced Ling Xiao's body. A black lotus platform appeared under Ling Xiao's feet. It couldn't pierce through half an inch. The flying tiger knight turned pale with fright. How could this be? So you guys are really unlucky. Ling Xiao sneered. The devil fist blasted out. Crazy devil power poured out. Spots of black lotuses fell from the sky. Boom! This punch directly hit the flying tiger knight's body. The flying tiger knight had no chance of dodging at all. At that moment, crackling sounds came from his body, and his bones and internal organs were completely shattered. After that, the black fist force completely engulfed this unlucky guy. His body and Dantian were destroyed together. So strong. Even if I don't use the tyrannical martial spirit or magic treasure, I can still kill an 8th-stage core-shattering realm martial artist with one punch. Ling Xiao was very satisfied with his punch. End of this chapter. Chapter 4530. Ling Xiao suddenly looked at the rest of the people. Those people were still in a daze, unable to react. What's going on? This Ling Xiao clearly had to use a magic treasure to barely kill the Flying Tiger Knight, who was in the 8th stage of the Shattered Core Realm. But now he easily killed him with a punch. How did he do it? While they were still in shock, Ling Xiao's attack erupted again. Endless demon fist erupted. The sky was filled with demon shadows, black lotuses. When the black lotuses landed on those people, they would die tragically. A total of 10 Shattered Core Realm experts died in Ling Xiao's hands in an instant. With my current strength, entering the Heaven Ruins shouldn't be a problem. There are only 3 days left before the Heaven Ruins opens. I can go back and prepare. Ling Xiao smiled. Although he lost the 9 Underworld Great Demon King, he didn't have this powerful trump card. The pressure was greater, but it also made him more motivated. What happened in the demon-suppressing forest caused a stir in the entire chaotic sand sea. Even the Board of Patriarchs, Beast Deities Alliance, Jade Flower Sect, and other organizations sent martial artists to investigate. There was actually a terrifying demon suppressed here. No wonder all the martial artists who entered the demon-suppressing forest died. The 12 ruins were already shocking enough. This demon-suppressing forest was a forbidden area. Now that all the mysteries were solved, it naturally attracted a large number of crazy martial artists. A large number of martial artists all headed towards the demon-suppressing forest. Ling Xiao, on the other hand, had already quietly returned to the inn where Xiao Jin was staying to watch this grand show. Of course, he also stopped Xiao Jin and the others who wanted to watch the show. That damned place, even if Lotus Flower had already left, was still an extremely terrifying place to go. This time, the chaotic Sand Sea's martial artists would probably die in countless numbers. With the Divine Body realm martial artists taking the lead, a large number of experts entered the demon-suppressing forest. But they were still attacked by terrifying demonic beasts and monsters. The casualties were extremely tragic. Countless martial artists were not killed by demonic beasts, but by the terrifying demonic aura that pervaded the demon-suppressing forest. But no matter what, the chaotic Sand Sea's power was not to be underestimated. Especially when the Board of Patriarchs and Beast Deities Alliance joined forces. They were practically the strongest in the chaotic Sand Sea. Almost all the demonic beasts were wiped out. Unfortunately, when they slaughtered all the demons and found the former Lotus Flower's cave abode, they found it. However, there was nothing there. Everything here had not been taken away by the Lotus Flower. It was taken away by Ling Xiao. After a crazy battle, it was all for naught. The various forces of the chaotic sand ocean all suffered heavy blows. Thus, everyone placed their attention on the 12 ruins. Perhaps only the things taken from there would be able to heal their wounded little hearts. Ling Xiao, on the other hand, was currently cultivating in the inn, because he was with Cold Plum and Little Gold. Yuhua Divine Religion temporarily stopped their pursuit. This time they had lost quite a few people in the demon-suppressing forest. Even Yuhua Sect's sect master, Yuhua Jun, was severely injured. It would be impossible for them to find trouble with Ling Xiao. The day before the opening of the Heaven Ruins, a group of uninvited guests came to the inn. All 10 of them came from the Golden City. This was the team from the City of Gold. Ling Xiao recognized 3 of them. They were Qi Hai, Ape Demon, and Tian Haitang, whom he met in the 3,000 holy cities. However, these 3 seemed to be the weakest 3 in this team. They were probably here to make up the numbers. Ling Xiao originally thought that the news of him killing Qi Yuan had spread, and these people were here to settle the score. However, it seemed that the other party was not hostile, especially Tian Haitang, who admired Ling Xiao greatly when they were in the 3,000 holy cities. Today, she saw that Ling Xiao had actually made a name for himself in the chaotic sand ocean. She was also very happy. Ling Xiao, I didn't expect you to come to the chaotic sand ocean too. I heard others mention it before, but I thought it was just a rumor. It's a pity that you haven't received an official invitation from the City of Gold. Otherwise, we could have teamed up. Tian Haitang truly felt that it was a pity. She had seen the scene of Ling Xiao killing a divine body realm expert. She knew that Ling Xiao had a powerful puppet. However, she did not know that the giant Demon King had already been taken away. Junior sister Tian Haitang, aren't you going to introduce us? A young man in white, who looked like a scholar, said with a smile. This person was probably in his 90s, and he looked very amiable. He seemed to be the kind of person who would never get angry. However, there was a hint of arrogance between his brows. It was just that he concealed it very well. I almost forgot to introduce you. Ling Xiao. This is Senior Brother from the City of Gold by Fan. Senior Brother by Fan is a 9th stage core fragmentation realm expert. He's only 1 step away from the half-step divine body realm. Tian Haitang said hurriedly, 9th stage core fragmentation realm. If this was in the past, Ling Xiao could only look up to him. This was an expert on the level of Green Lotus Swordswoman and Zhao Fengyan. However, Ling Xiao was not inferior in front of this by Fan now. He cupped his hands in a manner that was neither servile nor overbearing. Greetings, Senior Brother Bai. Under normal circumstances, Ling Xiao was a very polite child. Of course, this depended on the person. If someone was disrespectful to him, there was no need for him to be polite. Haha, I've long heard of Junior Brother Ling's name. You're the champion of the Battle of Gold and will be a martial artist of the City of Gold in the future. I hope that we can work together and make the City of Gold stronger. Bai Fan said with a smile. That's Senior Brother Heifeng. He's even stronger and has reached the half-step divine body realm. He's the strongest martial artist that the City of Gold sent this time. Even in the 4 regions and 9 worlds, he's one of the top geniuses. Only a few powerful monsters can suppress him. Tian Haitang pointed at a man in black with a cold expression and said, the so-called monsters were naturally Wang Quan, Tianming, Huang Jinlan, Yang Shi, and Biming Ba. Hei Feng's attitude was not as good as Bai Fan's. He looked at Ling Xiao coldly, snorted, and closed his eyes. It was as if he couldn't be bothered to look. Since he didn't give Ling Xiao face, Ling Xiao couldn't be bothered to pay attention to him. Senior Brother Bai, may I know why you're looking for me? Ling Xiao asked with a smile. He couldn't figure out why the people of the City of Gold were looking for him at this time. Bai Fan smiled and said 2 things. Firstly, we're all martial artists of the Golden Sky region, and we're here to visit Junior Brother Ling. Secondly, I have a suggestion. Why don't we combine our teams? This can increase our strength. We can also discuss how to split the loot. To be honest, this is something that benefits both of us. In your Battle Alliance team, only Golden Prince and Sword Tiger have real fighting strength. Although Kai Dai Saintess is powerful, she's injured and can't fight easily. On our side, we also have someone who's just there to make up the numbers. He's basically useless. This is definitely a good thing to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Bai Fan was very polite and didn't mean to bully others. Therefore, he felt that Ling Xiao should be able to agree. After all, he had a certain status in the City of Gold and wasn't inferior to Chi Hua and the others.